certain suggestions. We are reflecting upon this given segment related to essay technology. So didn't appear, few of people, you have not appeared. If you would have appeared, you would have found that what segments you have created in your homework is something which is helping you to appear for the test as well. So, oh, okay, all right, Varsha, fine, fine. So, SME, please support me with Santosha's query. He's unable to hear me or see me. So, I think he needs to join again or something like that. Okay. Now, so with respect to this topic that we had been discussing, in the previous session, I discussed with all of you that how the source can be used or associated with Yojana, right? After that, we all can see that the source of Yojana, after that, we discussed about the essay topics, the previous year essay topics very briefly, and we saw that how it is quite helpful in terms of reflecting upon the previous year questions. 2022 question also we had reflected upon. We all can thank you, Shweta. All right. So when we were discussing about this given subsegment associated with the philosophical topics, what dimension can be incorporated further? Let us reflect upon that. So these are the possible target areas, and I'm going to discuss about it. Before that, a few things which I would like to bring in. The 2022 topics are there. I'll be reflecting upon it. Just a second. Yeah. Evaluation of essay is something which I want to discuss with all of you. Now, when we are discussing about this given area related to evaluation of essay, uh, first and foremost, I would like to share this, that the evaluation, we can consider the evaluation sheet is not shared by UPSC. The evaluation sheet is not shared by UPSC. Then you will be like, ma'am, on what basis can we get this given segment? Like, from where can we believe that this given area that has been evaluation of essay, this segment that has been given, from where can we trust it? Like, why and how can we trust it? See, first thing, I will not take credit for this evaluation sheet. This was created by my senior. He used to teach till 2015. Senior, when I say, he is almost like 18 years senior to me, more like a father figure. And he was earlier an IS officer, took voluntary retirement, started teaching 1991 onwards. Imagine, I was also a kid at that time. And he started teaching from 1991, and he used to take geography optional, this and that was till 2015. After 2015, he took retirement. He was like, enough of teaching. Now I should take a break in this journey, and I should start a fresh journey, new possibilities. And he's doing great. So like in 2009, when I started teaching, at that time I was discussing about the possibility of evaluation. And what happened, that in 2013, when UPSC changed its syllabus, at that time there were two things which I had raised before him. One thing, by 3-4 years of teaching, I just 4 years in fact of teaching, I was very exasperated by the fact that students are not writing enough essay and they're all not organizing well. So he was the person who told me that, see, if you really want the students to organize the essay very well, do you give them certain notes, certain tips? I was like, I just indicate what is what. So he was like, when was it that you wrote an essay last? So this is a question which only a teacher can ask, mind it. So I was like, sir, it's been some time. He's like, still? I was like, see, if you are talking about writing a poetry or like maybe a para or so, I have written quite often. But if you're talking about a 1200 word essay or a 2000 word essay, it's been quite some time. So he's like, yeah, there is the answer. This time, take up a topic and start writing an essay from a student's point of view, as if you're a student. And when you are doing all the brainstorming, brain mapping, when you're consolidating the topics, recall all the steps that you would have followed, and the challenges you would experience in organizing the essay. by consolidating the points in one place. The challenges you experience that, oh, this point also looks important and this one also, which one to prioritize and why. All those segments, every microscopic detail that you experience as a challenge, how about you document it on a piece of paper? And after that, if you share that with students, then that will make a profound impact. So, initially I had taken down just 3 points or so for organization of essay. And initial sessions, I used to share 3 points or so. Over the time period, as I kept writing, as I kept seeing from a student's point of view, all the micro details of how a student may struggle in creating an essay, and when I started seeing and organizing the points from a student's perspective and noting down the tips, it is that how, like in the previous session, or maybe last to last session, whensoever, maybe Thursday or Friday, I shared with all of you how to organize the essay. So, like, that is how your teachers and mentors nourish you. So, he was the person who actually gave me this insight, this breakthrough, that how and why it is important for all of us to, like, see the larger picture and to identify how things ought to be taken care of, how things ought to be, like, nourished or brought together in context. So, when I was like discussing about this given possibility at that given point of time, we discussed about this evaluation of essay. So the organization of essay, the points that I gave you, you don't find it in any book. And despite the fact that you don't find it in any book, you are able to bring everything in context, and the reason behind it is the reflection of your teacher from your perspective. So just looking into the details, what probably should be there and what is probably missing and what probably can be created further. Okay. As I believe all of you are able to understand or connect with this given possibility, I can give you further the segment of evaluation of essay. Even this was something which was like a mutual effort. It was not an isolated effort of mine. So in this one also, we reflected upon the syllabus of UPSC. Okay. Yes, that is what happens, Ravi. Initially, when you write an essay, it takes a lot of time. And that's why I always say that first 5 essays will be like trash stuck in your intellectual system. So first 5 essays will take a lot of time, constipated ideas, like, struggling with the right set of words, organizing it, struggling with what should be put in place. That's why first 5 essays are not even worthy of getting evaluated, or there can be a chance of not being able to stick to the word limit or stick to the aspiration of the timing, that you're respecting the timing. All those challenges can happen. It is only with multiple revisions and multiple, we can say, practice sessions that you develop proficiency. Remember, that is the reason that even on Friday, when I was wrapping up the session, I requested all of you that proficiency comes with a lot of writing practice. Remember? So, always remember this given idea, which I'm sharing with all of you, that try to make yourself as proficient as possible, as like capable as possible with a lot of writing practice. No one can train you as much as the writing practice that you will do, and your own soul, your own brain will guide you towards better writing skills, towards small breakthroughs every time you're writing, smaller, we can say, pieces of achievement as you start expressing yourself by and by. All right. So no one is going to like experience this kind of, I would say, empowerment overnight. That's not going to happen. Whatever we speak, whatever we write, whatever we do, we are a byproduct of our own history. So whatever I have done in my last 40 years, or 40 what initial 10 years, we are in a nascent stage. We don't even have the conscience developed fully. So like, let's say my 30 years of academic journey since my standard 3, 4, or maybe 5, 6 onwards till now, and your academic journey, like after you were 10 years old or so, is something which is nourishing us to become who we are and how we are expressing, talking, giving, like making a choice. Like I remember when my brother was in standard 1 or 2. At that time I was in standard 7th. I'm pretty senior to him, so I was is in 7th, or maybe I was in 8th and he was in standard 2. So at that time, like, I pushed him that, see, do something, memorize vocabulary properly. That makes a world of difference, because I myself was doing, and I was motivated by my grandpa. So at that time, when I had encouraged him to build upon his vocabulary, this kid, like, I used to introduce new words to him, and I was not in standard 8 capable to determine which word is suitable for him and which one is not, or which one he'll be capable to remember and which one he won't be able to remember. Anyway, I kept introducing words to him, because anyway children start learning at a young age, and like, let's say, people who are born in a country where the native language is English, children get exposed to a world of words, isn't it? So because we are not native speakers, thus we struggle, right? So I encouraged him to think and like remember new sets of words. So what happened, that I like introduced him to this word nostalgic. And he was like, because I was introduced to that word in standard 6, so I thought, why not he also learn it? So in standard 8, I introduced the word nostalgic. He's like, what is nostalgic? It's like every time you're missing something that you have done or experienced or lived or been to a place. So he was like, okay. I was like for example, suppose if you want to eat an ice cream and it is winter and you don't get to eat an ice cream, so you'll feel nostalgic about having an ice cream, and nostalgic about summers, and going to, like, let's say, grandma's place during summer vacations and having ice cream over there. So you're feeling nostalgic about grandma's place and having ice creams over there. So he's like, yeah, 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 right, right. He remembered. And what happened, after 2 weeks he forgot the meaning of the word. So he had a fight in school with, like, one of his friends. And as he had that fight, he like he like was really angry. He was fuming. His friend said stupid, so he also responded like, you stupid. And then after that, when he became more heated, he's like, you're such a stupid idiot and nostalgic fellow. And his friend could not understand the word. He's like, he said some big word. It's some very big cuss word. Okay, कुछ बहुत बड़ा गाली दे दिया, भारी वाला गाली दे दिया है. And neither of them knew the meaning. My brother had forgotten and his friend could not remember. So he went and complained to the teacher that, like, Dharmveer said bad words to me. So my brother also complained, ma'am, he also said bad words to me. So the teacher scolded both and then made them sit down. Okay. And then later on, my brother came and then very sheepishly he said that, what is the meaning of nostalgic? I was like, why? He's like, oh God, I just used this term on my friend when he was like really irritating me. He called me stupid. So I also said, stupid idiot, nostalgic fellow, and don't laugh at me. And then I laughed my heart out. And then I again re-explained the term. See, this is the power of language. The more you use, you become accustomed to it. First, you'll become accustomed to its pronunciation, its usage. Over the time period, you will start remembering the meaning and the right place where it ought to be used. So don't be scared of using an incorrect word. You must be seeing that every time you people are using terms. Sometimes I say, oh, don't use two nouns together. Oh, this expression should have been written in this manner, right? So don't be shy of practicing. Remember, in language building skills, practice is the only key to arriving at that expertise. And no one has learned all, like, since their birth. Everyone is learning bit by bit. And yes, socialization and background does make a difference. Like, for example, one of my friend's husband, he's in foreign services. She is herself a critique. She is we can say, like a literary critique, and she like writes powerful criticisms, or I would say balanced book reviews for different books. So authors send their books to her to reflect upon it, and then, like just give some sneak peek what kind of polishing is required. So both parents are well educated, and her husband was briefly posted in Belgium also for some time period. Anyway, so when her child was in standard 1 or 2, I still remember the child used the word parapet, and I was amazed. A standard 1 or 2 child knowing exactly what a parapet is and being able to use parapet. I mean, I was not so sure about what a parapet is till standard 8th or ninth. Okay. And I'm quite sure that few of you in the class may also not know what a parapet is. In a building, the we can consider the hanging part of the like outside a window sill or a balcony, you can see sometimes parapets are constructed. Okay, a little parapet. So that is what, but the child could actually connect with the word. So always remember all those students who are struggling with expression, with vocabulary, all those students who are struggling with how to find the right word, or in the previous session, students who said that, ma'am, I first think the topic in like Kannada or Hindi or my own mother tongue or Bengali, and then I translate it into English. This happens. It happens because our first point of cognition with language, with ideas, with things around us is in mother tongue. We are not first generation speakers, or we are not the like speakers of the language using it as our mother tongue. This should not encourage you. This should never encourage you to encourage your child to make English as the first language. Please remember that. Make your child multilingual, and you be multilingual, because multilingual people have sharper brains. Their capability to analyze is far sharper and better. Even diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer also stays at bay, because it has been scientifically proved that people who can play multiple musical instruments or can remember multiple languages are relatively sharper. By default, all Indians are multilingualists. Like we speak another language, we have a mother tongue. Sometimes we also know another colloquial language, or we can say grandparents' language can be different from the mother tongue we are speaking, right? Or some regional local language that we know, or some nearby states' language that we know. So by default, like all Indians are multilinguals, and that's the beauty of being born in a diverse country. Now, the challenge is that we are unable to process our ideas in the language which we have chosen for the exam. And that is something which will happen when you are constantly practicing. So, what we are talking about this segment, we all need to understand that you all can, like, consolidate the information together, and all the things which you are constantly nourishing, learning from different subjects, consciously make an effort to memorize it, consciously make an effort to organize it, consciously make an effort to reproduce it. In the absence of revision, revision is not revisiting. Revision is when you visualize the concept once again, when you introspect and try to connect with the concept once again. Okay, so when with multiple revisions and multiple, we can say, practice sessions, you will be able to gain that level of confidence in your expression, which you might not be having in the first test or in your first practice session, which many of you have done like yesterday or day before yesterday, as many of you are, like, sharing right now. So this is something which we will be like reflecting upon this. Okay, so that is something which I would be sharing with all of you. Please get into practice session. That's the real breakthrough that you can create for your preparation. So, and as Neil, you're asking that you have not done completed GS, how should you go about practicing an essay? It's not necessary you write 1200 words to begin with. You can start writing 600 words. 600 or 700 words is always doable. Okay. And as you start, like, and when you are writing essay, when you feel that you have written something good, okay, collect it, collect the topics, keep an index page, and in index page, keep noting down social topics which you have practiced, philosophical topics you have practiced, political topics you have practiced. Make a list and try to, like, practice on diverse topics to begin with, not necessarily with philosophical topics only, because you are a beginner. First, you need to learn how to consolidate all the ideas, put it in one frame, and capable to expand upon it. Okay, as you're gaining confidence in that, bit by bit, once in a while, keep taking one philosophical idea and practicing it. Okay, so that is something which will bring in balance in the way you are thinking, the way you are producing the content. That's something which I can suggest. Okay, so I will be discussing that, Samin. You will get a clarity about I think, therefore I am. What does it mean? Okay, so I would be like discussing all these possibilities with all of you with respect to like what ought to be done. Now, so I can see that, okay, that student, what was, so Kavna, is your, um, yesterday's issue was difficult. Okay, we'll be talking about it, Kavna. And who was that student? Santosh, could you get connected to the session? I hope you have joined the session. You were struggling few minutes back. I hope your issue has been resolved. All right. So, as we are further moving ahead with this given subsegment, let us allow, okay, great. So, as we are moving ahead with this subsegment with respect to evaluation of essay, as I told you that this is not my brainchild only. There was this senior of mine who, actually gave this insight. The one who was I was talking about, that who was an IS officer and later took voluntary retirement, was moreover interested in teaching, so started teaching since 91 onwards till 2015. So in 2013 we sat down with the syllabus and we reflected with respect to the syllabus that what kind of content ought to be created, and what will be the sub segments on the basis of which UPSC will go ahead with respect to evaluation of the essay. So when we were reflecting upon the various sub segments that probably UPSC will engage in terms of evaluation of the essay, we actually reflected upon the syllabus and all the segments which UPSC would require, the personality, the traits, the insights which UPSC would require to see in a student. So when we were breaking open the syllabus, if you remember, the syllabus was written, candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. So why do you want to give multiple topics to a candidate? Because you want to test multi-dimensionality. That's why you are aspiring to give multiple topics. Okay. So if you remember the syllabus, the qualities that the syllabus wants from you, the qualities to be tested in a civil servant. So the qualities which UPSC would be looking forward would be multidimensionality. All of you realized when we were discussing about patriarchy topic the very first day, like on Monday, and I discussed that the topic that was given, that patriarchy, okay, is least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. When we were discussing about that given topic, if all of you remember that, uh, like all of you reflected so many dimensions. There were multiple dimensions, but abundance and richness was missing. So it was then that all of you understood two things. First, you need to understand a topic in letter and spirit, paying attention to even the smallest word possible, because every single word is adding a world of meaning to the topic. So you became attentive to the words. Whether you have developed that attentiveness or not, I put it to test in the previous session also, when I showed you the 2021 essay topic and I asked you the topic associated with technological outsourcing. If you remember, there was this just a second, there was the 2021 topic, this one, the process of self discovery has now been technologically outsourced, and to which I said that in this topic, what content? So you kept creating, but no one paid attention to has now been. And this is debatable. Has now been is too deterministic. Whereas the process of self discovery can be technologically outsourced, can be. Has now been is too extremist, and we don't need to abide by this given expression when we were discussing about it, right? So when we are talking about the possibility of understanding a topic in letter and spirit, I believe all of you were able to connect with this given idea that we were reflecting upon, and that is associated with, just a second, and that is associated with this, where is evaluation, yeah, so that is associated with multidimensionality may be devoid of richness and completeness. So along with multidimensionality, there should be a sense of richness and completeness of the topic. I hope all of you can connect, right? I hope all of you can recall, everyone, yeah, just give me a nod, head nod, that all of you can recall this, right? Okay, that was the logic. That, like when we were discussing, see, if you see the topic, how students have been responding, ek bachcha hai jo khilkhila deta hai, rather than just pressing the thumbs up, the child will like ha 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 ha. So I get in between the thumbs ups, I get some ha 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 ha, notifications also. So okay, that's kind of cute. All right. So when we are reflecting upon this given dimension of how we created this evaluation sheet and why it is important for you people to know that there is an evaluation sheet, because notice how students are getting the marks. Someone gets 131, someone gets 167, someone is getting 145, someone is getting 128, or someone is getting 123 or 132. Okay, so someone is getting like let us consider 113. What kind of marks is this? Like, if, like, let us consider if you or I were evaluating, so out of 125 marks, if we had to give marks in essay, so 125 marks each essay, and if we had to give marks, there was a fair possibility we would have been giving 50 or 60, 55 or 65, right? Something like that, right? 70 or 75, something like that. But there would have been a wholesomeness in marks. It would have been like 51, someone is getting 47, someone is getting 63. A person would ask, no, that on what basis there is a difference in 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Those possibilities could have been asked, right? So there is a finer possibility of evaluation. There is a possibility that, the evaluation is done on some finer parameters which helps us to arrive at understanding what ought to be there, what segments ought to be incorporated, which would be evaluated specifically, due to which this difference can be caused in terms of marks. So this difference of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is possible only when, okay, or 9 for that matter, the difference is only when there are some finer breakthroughs or finer breakups of the parameters as we are evaluating. Okay, so with respect to this given subsegment, when we are like consolidating the dimensions and upgrading the content, we all can reflect upon, first and foremost, the segments on the basis of which the essay would have been getting evaluated. All right. So I hope all of you can understand that why the segment of, like, we can say, multidimensionality, completeness, richness is there when we are evaluating, because these micro units also must be taken care of under the qualitative evaluation of the essay, whether those qualities are there or not, because that is an aspiration of the syllabus. In the syllabus, it is written that multiple topics would be given. So that's an aspiration of the topic, okay, or the syllabus for that matter. Again, we can say the content ought to be relevant. It should not be haywire. Why? Because the topic, the syllabus says that they will be, means candidates will be expected to keep closely to the subject. What does this term closely to the subject imply? Closely to the subject. So when you are sticking, just a second. So when you are sticking closely to the subject, I'll just erase this dimension as it is explained. Okay. So when you are remaining closely to the subject, what does this imply? So remaining closely to the subject means you are not messing up with the order, first and foremost. Okay. And with respect to this, when you are also remaining closely to the subject, you are not meandering, you are not getting distracted. The content is relevant. That's what it implies. Definitely, there has to be like certain marks to introduction and conclusion. Okay, so relevancy is what is associated with the term closely to the subject. That's why you'll see this evaluation sheet. I do not say that this is the same evaluation sheet UPSC is using, but I can claim that something similar is being used by UPSC. So, how are you supposed to use this sheet in your favor in future? Whensoever you are practicing essay, if you get a friend, amazing, who is preparing for civil services. But suppose if you don't have a friend, then try to, after you have written an essay, try to evaluate your own essay from your own mental makeup, your own level of maturity, from these parameters. Have you fulfilled these parameters or not? Okay. Again, when we are talking about the segment, what is evaluated? So it's written that credit will be given for effective and exact expression. So, like, let's say effective and exact expression. Okay. So when I'm saying credit will be given for effective and exact expression. So how to get effective expression and exact expression? Yes. So effective and exact expression, this term is associated with the very possibility effective. When are you effective? When you are creative. when you are a constructive thinker, innovative, when you're inspiring others with your ideas, when your speech is or your writing is powerful, right? So the word effective, it is like associated with this given dimension. Again, when the component is giving that the to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion. Okay, so to arrange the ideas in an orderly fashion, in an orderly fashion. So what does this word orderly fashion mean in the syllabus? So orderly fashion is here, orderly, logical, fluent. See this? So the words which are given in the syllabus, they have been consolidated in the evaluation sheet so that you learn how your essay would get evaluated. What are the basic benchmarks or parameters which are leading to the evaluation, which you need to constantly take care of as you develop your skills in essay writing. Again, further, when we are discussing about it, your language skills, because what is written? It is written that you have to write effective and exact expression. So the component of effective and exact expression. So this effective and exact expression comes from simple language, clear language, and concise, precise language. Because see, here it's written that and to write concisely. That's written. And to write concisely. This is what your syllabus is saying. So this concisely. Concisely is coming with brevity. Brevity when you're writing concise, to the point, not beating around the bush, not stretching unnecessarily, not thinking, oh, I have the freedom to write 12 or 18 pages. Let me just write whatever I feel like. No, you're sticking to the game. That's what. So simplicity, clarity, brevity. All of you can understand this. Should we write all the dimensions in brainstorming or write only relevant dimensions? First, let everything that's coming in your mind, just write it down. Don't attach filters in brain mapping also. Let anything that is associated with a topic that you know you are able to recall, just put it on paper. While organizing, choose the most relevant points. And then after choosing the most relevant points, put an order to them. If you're seeing that the word, I'm so sorry, if you're seeing that the word limit, okay, if you see that the word limit is running short, in that situation, when you see that the word limit is running short, then you can be like little careful about the possibility of incorporating few miscellaneous points, because then you don't have to burn your energy in thinking about miscellaneous points. Okay, so that is how you are supposed to consolidate when we are speaking of it. All right, so just maintain everything. Later on, start reflecting upon the possibility, because organization is the time when you can pick and choose. You can see the relevance of that point. But suppose while organizing, you realize word limit is less. You're going to produce a content worthy of 950 words and you want more points. At that time, you cannot burn your energy. Oh, what dimension to write? Whatever dimensions were important, I have already thought. Now what to create? That pressure should not be there. So miscellaneous points which you have thought earlier, but you left it due to dearth of priority, that no, it is not a priority point, let me leave it. You will always pick it, stuff it in between. That's how you are supposed to balance the game. Okay, definitely grammar and spellings, they are the undercurrent. So when we are talking about percentage of importance, this is the tentative percentage that I'm proposing, that for 100% marks, this might be the breakup. Presentation like neatness, legibility, visibility, handwriting does play a role. It looks like 5%, but I believe subconsciously, if it is a harassing handwriting, it can play an impact even more, even further. 5% to grammatical aspects related to spelling, grammar, sentence formation, because it is an essay, it is a piece of literature. So it's not to be written in bullet points, 1, 2, 3, 4, like an abbreviated version of what we are talking about and what we are expressing. So those possibilities should not be consolidated when we are talking about like elaborating upon a given content. So whether it is we are talking about presentation, grammatical aspects, language, those aspects ought to be really taken care of when we are substantiating upon a content. I hope all of you are gaining a clarity on this topic. Yes? Great. So, with respect to this, we can reflect upon this entire exercise and we can gain or relevance associated with this given area, right? So in total, there is 100% marks associated with this. Every area that you'll nourish, it is going to build to the 100% possibility, getting closer to that 100% possibility. Let every sentence that you write be nourished with a new possibility and get connected to the overall picture and the previous sentence, so that the examiner is having a joyous ride while reading your essay, that yes, this is an interesting dimension, yes, this dimension should have been opened, yes, this one leads to this. So while reading the essay, the examiner is not going to get empowered by your essay. Wow, kya likh diya, I had never thought of it, this is an idea I had never ever read. No, that's not going to happen. Literally 90% of the content you write, the examiner would be knowing. It is the engagement, the depth of engagement and the way you are organizing it, that is going to create a possibility of breakthrough of marks for you. So understand that. Can we write some bullet points in the middle of essay? Never ever. No bullet points at all. In do's and don'ts of essay pile, I had explicitly mentioned any student who has not gone through the do's and don'ts of essay slide, which was probably discussed on second day, okay, second day end or third day towards the beginning of the session. So that has been clearly given in essay technology part 2. So please go through the bullet points which I had given regarding do's and don'ts of essay, and don't mess with them. Okay. Essay is a piece of literature. It should be free flowing. You write bullet points when you're writing a GS answer in dearth of content. Here language is evaluated. When you don't give language, it is not like a report that you have to submit. It's not a report. Sir, please take care of these issues which have to be duly recognized, or which have to be ascertained. Point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. That's like when you're reporting to a senior, or when you're trying to talk about interventions. No, this is not that. So essay is your is a piece of literature which is a part of your experience, your insights. So let it not be too objective in expression per se. All right. Yes, one passage, one idea ought to be entertained. I had shared this, Nikhil, then also. If the idea is too stretched up and that is core to the topic, but you're seeing that the idea is stretching up to 150 words, break the para. In that situation, there can be a possibility that a core idea, which is taking more words, can take 2 paras, one idea. That also can happen. All right. So creativity in essay can confer us with brownie points. Yes, that shows that you're a well-read person. You are a solution-oriented officer. You are not only discussing the problems or challenges, you can see out of box. Okay. And it's not necessary every creative idea you mention is your own thought. It can be a borrowed idea, which you have borrowed from some other source. That is possible. Can we use parenthesis? Yes, parenthesis can be used. Uh, Quote also in 2 lines, not use much. No, no, no. Whenever you're writing a quotation, you always change the para. Let the quotation stand out. Okay. Write the quotation, again change the para. So before writing the quotation, also change the para. After writing a quotation, also change the para, so that the quotation is visible. If you remember the quotation as it is, then put it under inverted commas. If you don't remember the quotation as it is, don't put inverted commas. Just put a dash, that as XYZ had said, put a dash and then write the statement. Okay. If you don't remember who has said, as popularly said, put a dash, write down the statement. So these are the ways. When we have different points, how to make a flow out of them. Dheeraj, did you practice it? Because it doesn't seem that you practiced. Because if you would have practiced, you would have remembered the school days methods. How during school days, when you are writing just a 5-page essay, for different points, you are making different paras. Essay is not alien to your system. Essay is a part of your thought process since school days. The only issue is this time the essay quantity is stretched. Okay. So methods and techniques which you used during school days are no more effective. So new methods, new techniques, new dimensions had to be substantiated and elaborated, which I tried to do in last 5 lectures. Right. So someone saying, I don't know how to make a flow out of the para. How have you written essay during standard 8th, 9th, 7th? Because there had to be a flow created even for a 3-page essay, even for a 4-page essay. Right? First. Second, Dheeraj, in last session, I also discussed about What is no? No means you have, I know you have not written the essay on this weekend. I'm 100% sure. Because if you would have written, you would have been able to see how you are creating a flow. First. Second thing, I can also suggest is that, like, in the previous session, I discussed about word bank and sentence bank. So I introduced you to a lot of powerful connectors. When you use connectors powerfully, you connect one para with the other. For example, if you're like saying something in connection, so you're like in addition to, so suppose you're writing political point, from there you're writing economic point, so you're writing in addition to the above ideas we can also reflect upon written. Suppose there is a cause effect relationship, consequently we can say thereupon this happened. There's a contrasting idea, you're changing the para, you're writing yet there is an anomalous condition. There are different challenges despite the strengths of this issue. So that's how you connect the para with powerful connectors. List of connectors have been shared with all of you in the previous session. Okay, so practicing is the key. This is what we can say. Yes, you can memorize idioms and phrases and use them effectively also, Niranjan. There is no limitations for para. No, there's no limitations for para. I had earlier also said, Rashmi, there can be umpteen number of paras. You can write small and big paras. See to it in every page, at least 2 paras are visible. Let not one page be filled by 1 para so that it does not give a monotonous, boring look. Okay, that was the only piece of advice that I had given. So, I am not associated with the schedule, Manoj, so I cannot empower you with the schedule issue. Let the tech team reach out to you. So graduation, my first year declares. Yes, with respect to this, practice is the key, Neetu. Make keywords, memorize it well, because IGNOU professors are also competent to any good central university professor. In fact, the hiring is done in a very pro manner, and even evaluation is done qualitatively quite high. So write and practice and memorize and make like bullet points, and then appear for your exam, the exam you are talking about, and it shall help you. Okay, you shall come out with flying colors for sure. Okay, you can underline the quotations. All right, so I hope majority of your queries have been like taken care of, people. Okay, so with respect to this, when we are further moving ahead, so no problem, those who have yet not written an essay, it is encouraged, start writing an essay and tell yourself that first five essays will be garbage. Yes, tell yourself my first 5 essays will be garbage, they are not worthy of getting evaluated also, and write 5 essays preferably every week, 2 essays. If you're unable to devote like 2 essays per week, at least 1 week, nothing less than that. If you're not writing 1 essay per week, you're not fighting fit. So at least write 1 essay per week. After 5 essays, you'll realize there's a qualitative improvement in your structuring, expression, recalling the content, like, the way you are building the essay, everything will undergo a massive change. So give yourself some patience and time, and the change will start unfolding bit by bit. Okay? No need to, it will not affect your UPSC exam till the time the results are out. Like the rule is that till the time you get selected, at that time graduation should have been completed. Okay, so not an issue. So don't worry, even if you're appearing for the exam in December, the results are out within few months. So by the time you'll be filling the form, so you can do that. So graduation third year appearing student can appear for UPSC prelims exam, because the mains detailed application form is filled later, that is, like, you can see by June also, so don't worry. All right, anyway, so no, there is no time for writing the essay. This I had said, Shruti, just 20 minutes back, that those students who have yet not completed the GS don't need to wait to complete GS. Start writing essay from now onwards. Now onwards. First start writing 600 word essay, 700 word essay. Bit by bit, the size will grow, the content will grow, your flow will grow better. Okay, so there is no ideal time to start writing essay. This is the time. All right, now, So I believe all of you are getting some kind of clarity regarding all those knickknacks, smaller, like we can say, butty issues which were creating problem in your preparation or in your expression. And remember, 5 essays, be kind to yourself. Kind to yourself because you've never written such essays in your life, such long essays. So be kind to yourself when you're writing smaller essays, or you're taking more time, or you're struggling with language, you're struggling with expression. Be kind to yourself. Tell yourself, I've not done this exercise ever in my life, yet I'm having the courage to do it. So how about doing it by and by? And when you are giving yourself that freedom of space to operate, you will realize that with a fresh sense of courage and regular practice, you will catch up. The time you are taking will reduce, the quality you are producing will grow better, the flow and synchrony of ideas will be improved. All right. Uh, Pili, as you're asking that how to generate content for essay, I'm sorry to say you have missed my first 5 sessions. So the session started in previous week, and on Tuesday I had discussed for 3 hours how to generate content for essay. All right. So I think that this question is associated with second session. Kindly listen to it. बाकी बच्चे किस लिए दांत फाड़ रहे हैं भाई? हैं? What is the reason for laughing? She is a student who has just joined today. She or he is the student who joined the session today. Today is the first session for the person, and that's why such an innocent question, how to generate the content, right? I know why you people were laughing. I know that also. Okay, I can sense all that. So now, but grow up. It's high time that you grow up. So I'll be writing some words that you're using while teaching. Yes, yes, to improve word bank. That's how you grow up. All right. Now, so evaluation sheet. This should give you confidence that how essays are evaluated, so that even when the session is over, you know what steps ought to be taken care of, or what segments will get evaluated, and whether that segment is taken care of in your essay or not, whether that segment is there or is it missing. So that critical reflection ought to be there. Brainstorming, brain mapping, figure storming, yes, and WH questions. So much, yes, has to be taken care of. Okay, now with respect to this, when we are further moving ahead, I'm just showing you few model essays, not the entire bit, but few of you had requested, ma'am, we want to see. So I thought that, okay, I'll show you both kind of essays. So this specific topic, I mean, upar ye cut gaya hai, but as you will take the printout, you will be able to see it. So this specific essay, which all of you are able to see, this I've just provided the introduction and the conclusion associated with this one. So this is role of civil society in governance. Okay, role of civil society in governance. A simple topic given in practice session. Now you can see how the historical method of starting an introduction with clubbed with a generalized overview to specialized other method is used. Okay, now I would like to bring an insight associated with the language of the essay and how simplistic it can be and how qualitatively it can be. So this is an essay which I would say can very easily get 60% marks. This is the benchmark which we can consider is associated with 60, on a high side 65%. So this is the level which a student can possess. You can see how the content goes. And I chose the students having relatively cleaner handwriting so that you can get inspired. You can see this. So ever since man existed on earth, civil society was existing, but may not be in the present form. The concept of civil society has now evolved from historic times to modern. In the pre-modern era, people were seen as ones who are to be governed by the state, but later, due to change in the setup of the state, from dictatorial regime towards democracy, the importance of civil society grew up. Now, what is this? This is the evolution. How the evolution of civil society took place. Okay. And in this student is discussing what? Okay, so he's a selected IS officer. Okay, so what is he discussing? He is discussing how the civil society has existed since times immemorial. Every time, informally, people were coming together to cooperate and help each other. It was nothing but the presence of a civil society. And as we reflect upon from ancient to modern times, we all can see that every time people were coming together to organize with their consolidated effort, they were trying to govern at local level or at logistic level better. Something similar to a civil society got created, and its importance grew further after the dictatorial regime. So we can see dictatorial regime, monarchical form of government was something which was experienced earlier, and now we can see that we are moving towards a possibility whereby we are living in a democratic form of government. In a democratic form of government, all of us can see that the way we all are existing at all times, we are expecting not only the government to intervene, but the masses to be empowered and working like stakeholders. So, see, when you are like in a subservient position, when you are like in a submissive position, you have a tendency of my bap culture that, oh, just help me, please, like, stand for me, please help me out. So, in that situation, what really emerges, which all of us can see, is associated with, we can consider, um, the possibility is associated with we can say a beneficiary tendency, that you are a beneficiary and you're expecting the government of the day or the king or the queen, whosoever, to help you and like salvage you out of the situation, help you out of the situation. That's what we expect. But when we see the larger picture, the present situation, we all can see that now people are stakeholders. They are participating in democracy at different levels and trying to bring about a change. That's what the child is hinting, that today in democracy, the importance of civil society has grown up. Okay, now I gave you the background so that if any student has not studied governance or was not present in ethics class, or basic background is missing, a basic overview is clear. So people started asserting their rights in groups and put forward their demands before the government. Okay, now you can see simple words like asserting their rights in groups. I have seen students understanding the meaning, not using it. See this. This organization of people for protecting their multifarious interests, in some cases to support a cause, gave rise to the modern civil society. You can see that multifarious interests. Can you see that? Now, so civil society has now become the important actor of governance, sharing responsibility with the state in providing goods and services to the people. Can you see this? Right? So civil society. So here we can see terms like multifarious, okay, asserting. These are words which you might not be using. Get accustomed to using it. So the organization of people is like taking care of multidimensional or multifarious interests, right? And they are sometimes coming together for supporting a cause. Sometimes it is giving rise to a modern civil society, and it has now become an important actor of governance. So here we can see the purpose. The purpose, what is it associated with? So sharing responsibility with the state, okay, in providing goods and services to the people. And here, so this is like a historical segment. We can see this is, the person is bringing in some relevance, that what is the relevance of civil society. And here we can see there is this generalized overview to specific other. Okay, so generalized overview to specific other. Here, all of us can see this. Okay, so over here, when we are seeing this given dimension, to understand a civil society in its entirety, it is imperative to know what civil society actually is. Maybe some student is struggling with this word, imperative, right? So probably I should erase any other word other than vocabulary, so that all of you are like getting inspired even by the vocabulary. Okay, so maybe I can just like simple language, but formal language. Simplicity does not mean kiddish or childish. You can see this, right? Again, So to understand the civil society in its entirety, it is imperative to know what civil society actually is. Imperative means it is important, okay, unavoidable. It is it is something which is extremely important to be taken care of. So types of civil society, its tools of action, and critical analysis of its working. This is generalized overview. Now we can understand that in the forthcoming paras, the child will be talking about uh, a lot of segments. After, like, we can consider, this is a typo error, this person should not have applied a comma after a exclamation mark. So we can understand that as the child is elaborating upon this content, this person would be writing in the forthcoming paras how civil society is very important, what are the types of civil society, what are the tools of action, and the critical analysis of its work. This, right? So you can see all those students who are talking about this, that ma'am, can we use multiple types of introduction in a go? Yes. I said at least use 2 paras in a page. It should look like something is in, like, interesting, ideas are changing. So you can see there's a change in the para, even though towards the end, but it is there. So civil society is an organization of civilians formed out of their common interest. They are not like forced or compelled to form. इसके आगे होना चाहिए था it. So silly grammar mistake, something that missed out. We are able to notice that as well. Okay, I'm not going to read this entire bit. I'm just like leaving it for all of you to read, okay, and get inspired by it. What is simple language? How the dimensions are, and see in GS, these are the segments which you put in bullets. And how to avoid bullets and paraphrase the information, you can just see that. All right. So this is to inspire you to learn how simple yet formal language ought to be used. Okay. Right. I hope all of you can see that. Please show one example of how other language phrase. Yeah, you'll find that. You'll be finding that. That's just like further ahead. Onkar. The example is just waiting for all of you. So you can just read this essay and you can get inspired. So something like 5 pages have been lifted, not the entire essay. I have missed 2-3 pages because I was not interested to share the entire essay of a student. I wanted all of you to just get a sneak peek or a glimpse how essay is written. Okay, see this one. So this was India of my dreams. Now, India of my dreams, as you were asking Onkar ma'am, how other phrases are used and how the of other language it is used, you can find this. Sulahe kul, sarvadharm sambhava, vasudhaiva kutumbakam. You can see that, how it is written. Okay. Preferable is like you could see when I was discussing the Yojana content. If all of you can recall, I think it was somewhere over here. If you remember, you can see it was written over here as well. In the previous session, I had highlighted this. So here it was written, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. That's ideally how phrases of other languages are used, Onkar. All right. Now, getting back to what we had been discussing. So, because the topic demands the possibility of writing in first person, you can write in first person. Remember, in do's and don'ts of essay, I said refrain from using second person and first person in your essay. Do not write, I believe that, I know that, I feel that, I think that. You cannot do that till the time the topic itself is demanding you to do that. Like India of my dreams. Same as with GS answers. You don't have to write in first person till the time the topic demands you. Like, what would you do? What is your concern? Do you agree? Something like that. So it can be said, it can be addressed. But if it is a case study, you are an IAS officer posted here. So, in those situations, you are supposed to use the first person. All right. So, can we underline keywords? Yes, you can. Good, you're reading the Hindu paper, Gulab. Now, so here, just have a glimpse of what an essay can be when we are talking about 65 to 70% marks. Okay. So 65 to 70% marks, what kind of essay gains that kind of possibility? We will be reflecting upon that. So I showed you what is 60 to 65% marks: language, expression, engagement, right? See this one. So this child, he has engaged in like creating his own quotation sometimes, or borrowing other quotations, writing it in his own words. You see that kind of smartness going once in a while. So as we all can see, Can we give title to the essay? Why will you do that, Santosh? Why will you give title to the essay when the examiner has already provided a title to the essay and you have to develop the content around the title? So I could not understand the question, or probably you wanted to ask something else. Yes, in this many paragraphs are also there because the person is proposing a lot of ideas for his country. The topic is there. So past was good, and one more thing is there, Ghulam. The thing is, his handwriting is too like squeezed, too teeny tiny. Okay, so if you actually notice the handwriting, you'll realize that the child is fitting in as much as 12 to 14 words per line, whereby ideally students fit 5 to 6 words. So 12 to 14 words per line, and that's the reason that you can see that he is able to change para. So if someone is writing 12 to 14 words per line, 5 lines or 7 lines and almost 60 70 words are done. That's why so many para. That's also there. So here, as we are reflecting upon this, we all can like connect. You can see this, just a brief overview. Past was good, present is better, and future shall be glorious. This is the first thought that strikes my mind as I close my eyes and cherish a dream for my motherland. Because India of my dreams. So, what are you dreaming for your country? He's starting with a quotation, and this quotation is not minded given by him. He modified the language and then he just like supported the content of the essay as per the suitability of the topic. Started with a quote directly, yes, that's possible. So, this is the first thought that strikes my mind as I close my eyes and cherish a dream for my motherland. India, in its earlier days, was a fountainhead of philosophy and ideas, a haven for religious syncretism, and a canvas on which likes of Buddha and Mahatma stroked with the brushes of peace, plurality, and patience. But today, this land of erstwhile golden sparrow has lost its sheen and is struggling hard to redeem its lost glory. Changing the para. Today, our priorities seem grossly misplaced. We are part of a mad race where strength of a nation is measured by the arms and ammunition it possesses rather than ideas and intellect it breeds and values it stands for. Today, we are flaring in the fires of communal violence, mutual hatred, and growing apathy. I hereby propose, because India of my dreams. So, first identifying the problems, first recalling the glorious past, then identifying today's problems, and then proposing the change. You can see the order. So, I hereby propose a change, a radical change in the way the things have been looked upon and dealt with. India of my dreams, in contrast to present, would be at peace both within and without. See, such a wholesome expression. Okay, without any quotation, this kind of expression, that India of my dreams will be at peace both within. Within means inside the system and without. All this, the energy, all the expressions, all the possibilities we are seeing emanating out of it. The way the larger world is getting connected and able to witness the possibilities of this country. Anyway, where the requiting bullets, deadly guns, and blazing bombs will be silenced by hymns and bullets, by hymns and prayers of peace and tranquility. The wind of love and compassion will steer clear the clouds of communal strife and heal the wounds of tumultuous past. On global front too, where nations are vying and dying for supremacy, India will enliven, stand by, and spread its age-old principles of Sulhe Kul, Sarvadharm Sambhava, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We will strive hard for a world order where boundaries will fuse seamlessly and let love, compassion flow through. India of my dreams will be a young nation, a true democratic setup with government of the people, OF of the people, FOR for the people, and BY by the people. In caps, he has written all of it. Unlike today, where it's denigrated to of the people, where the governments are distanced from the concerns of the people, okay, because of looming corruption, all patterns of lack of transparency. So he's just hyphenated that, of the people, for the people, and BUI, by the people. Okay, you can see that. And you can again see this given possibility that it might look like, oh, it is so idealistic, it is so like loaded with ethos and peace and tranquility and silence. No, he has also opened multidimensional ideas. I can just show it in the last bit. All this you can read, the in between ideas which he has incorporated, the statements he has proposed. So you can just read it. I'll just show you the last bit because I have removed in between pages. What is the need to like make you read so much of content when the same topic will not be repeated? Okay, what you wanted was inspiration, how good essays are written and how they are connected. So I'm just showing you the last page associated with it. So satellites and VSATs will transform the world into a global village. Okay, so prior to satellites, if we are talking about it, what is written in the previous sentence, I'm just reading that out. So as we all can see, he has written this, that India of my India of my vision will be because when you'll take a like printout, you'll get that sentence which has been consumed by the upper, we can say, panel. Or I don't know whether you're able to see the upper panel or not, but if you can read, then, because for me it is not visible, maybe because of like the setup for me. So the first sentence I'm just reading in this page. So India of my vision will be a paragon of science, where paragon of a scientific age, where our traditional wisdom and modern ideas in tandem will turn the wheel of scientific revolution, providing solution to all the problems that haunt us today. Okay, so he's connecting it with science. Then satellites and VSATs will transform the world into a global village, where distances will no longer be will no longer be barrier and time not a constraint. Villages won't remain isolated islands. They will be a part of national fabric. Then changing the para in health sector. Mind it, the student is pre-COVID, so will not find the mention of COVID. But I'm sure if would have been witnessing the component of COVID, that would have been incorporated quite seamlessly again. You can see this. In health sector too, technology would ensure august advances. The more virulent strains of deadly diseases like malaria, TB would be tackled, and the ones like polio totally eliminated. HIV AIDS HIV and AIDS are the biggest health threats that we face today. Technology and innovation will scrub away this black fringe caused by them on our blue planet. Thanks to technology, our growth will no longer be held hostage to depleting resources and environmental threats. Nanotechnology, fuel cells, and efficient utilization will bring us free from the energy shortage, pollution, and resource insecurity. These emerging cutting edge technology, so here state of art technology could have also been written. That's how you use vocabulary in action, right? So these cutting edge technology, together with innate genius of Indian people. Now see, this is the mistake, PPL. Subconsciously it happens because the flow of idea, you're habituated to write like that to your friends in messages. So this will truly make India a world leader and a prosperous nation. This is my vision, profound yet practical, high yet reachable, and simple yet beautiful dream for my nation that reverberates in my soul with, and now he is copying the expression of a song, every breath I take, every move I make. I'm watching you if you actually watch the entire song. So, anyway, so reverberates in my soul with every breath I take, every move I make. Full stop. Because the topic is India of my dreams. So, constantly the engagement in first person. And you can see that how effortless and yet rich the content is, and so multidimensional it is. So that's why I said the previous one was 60 to 65%. This one is 65 to 70%. You can always segmentalize. You can always sense what is better, how. And I have to create a benchmark for all of you that inspires you. Oh, yes, this is the level that I have to reach, aspire to reach, make an effort to become like that. It doesn't happen overnight. That's why I said practice is the key. Constantly practicing is the key. It's rightly said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams and work for it. See, he's not quoted the person. So he's written, it's rightly said that, and then under quotation. So I give a clarion call to all my fellow countrymen to unite and work for our common objective of restoring our motherland with its pristine glory. And now again, you can see he is quoting like Vivekananda, and he is not like putting it like taking his name. So let us arise. Because he's modifying it in his own language. So let's rise, awake, and stop not till thy goal is reached. Okay, so that's what you all can see. There are many lines, cuts. Is it affecting marks? No. Because if there are, first and foremost, he should not have cut the sentence twice. Even one single cut is more than enough, if anyone is in the habit of it. Second thing, if like in the entire page twice cuts have been made, that doesn't make a difference. We do not pay attention to what cuts have been there. We only pay attention to the flow of ideas and how rich the ideas are, how qualitative the engagement is. Okay, Ghulam? So that's what. So all of you must be getting like inspired by this, and you also must be getting inspired with respect to the vocabulary, the expression, the engagement, the richness, and connecting the possibilities of different, we can say, segments, different subjects. So all those students who think that, oh, how to create something which is like 60% or what is 70%, this is something which we consider as qualitatively rich. Now getting back to what we had created, the trend analysis, which I was discussing in the previous session, associated with the possible target areas of essay, right? So with respect to not just the language, even the ideas are so benevolent, isn't it, Nikhil? Such amazing ideas. Just vocabulary does not make a change, and creativity also you could see. The government of the people, for the people, by the people, to government of the people, for the people, by the people. Simple creativity, but so very impactful, right? First person, Dheeraj, were you lost when I was discussing it? Didn't I say that you can use first person if the topic demands? इस पे 10 मिनट बोला है मैंने. I spoke 10 minutes on it. Were you lost? Were you in the washroom? Were you sleeping? What happened at that time when I was discussing why the child has used first person? I told you if the topic demands so, India of my dreams. So you are lost at that time, right? Why are you so non-sincere? While things are being taught with all heart and soul, I'm pouring full energy so that not even the most microscopic detail is missed for even the child who's struggling with the basics. But if you are not attentive, how can I impact upon you? How can I reach out to you? And do you think that the mistake you committed right now by not being attentive at that time, had it been an offline class, you would have dared to do that? Because in offline class, eye to eye contact. And when eye to eye contact is there, then you don't like budge, right? Questions tell me the story and history of a child. So I had discussed this thing, that even in ethics paper also, case study, if it is written that you are a bureaucrat posted in so and so, what would you do? First person you can use. These are exceptional situations, essay topics, or like I would say ethics case studies where you get an opportunity to write in first person. Else, never used first person. Never ever use first person, otherwise it will backfire for you. All right? Now, so yes, Gulam, it would have been more interesting had it been an offline session. You guys would have enjoyed it all the more with all different kind of puns and one-liners which I can throw in a in a offline session when there are various activities, subtle activities going on in the class, and I can see the students, and when I'm able to rectify that behavior with subtle nudges, okay, then you would have found it all the more interesting. Okay, so the line of the people, for the people, by the people. Yes, yes, yes. Jitu. So very true. That's why I said this given possibility that when you are creative, you are able to lift insights, lift segments from so many sources, right? I told you that the song, like he modified the language of the song into the essay. He incorporated quotations of different thinkers in his own, modification in his own language. Not a single quote by mentioning the name who said it, but everything is associated with his idea. I is justified. Well, right? So that's what you all can connect with. Fine. I appreciate Jitu that you can recall that. Okay. Now, possible target areas for, we can say, philosophical essays, because that is the bone of contention. Yesterday means Friday, all of you realized that of late, both the sections are connected to philosophical essays. UPSC syllabus would change in the near future, but they will never do away with philosophical essays. Something will always remain, because through philosophical essays, UPSC has realized that it can delve deep into the personality of a student, the level of connectivity, the level of understanding, the capability to, we can say, reflect and connect at multiple folds, layers, and levels, which is required for a civil servant. A civil servant should be a thinker, a philosopher, a leader, a friend, philosopher, and guide. You must have seen this word used for a civil servant, a friend, philosopher, and guide. So, who is a philosopher? A person who has love for knowledge and is a person who can reason out things. So, love for knowledge will make you delve deep into who's saying, what is the person saying, and what implications can be there. And that is put to test through the essay topic. Okay, so the purpose of a civil servant, or the, we can say, strengths and weakness of a civil servant, is put to test via this given mode when we are speaking of it, right? Yes, CAG, friend, philosopher, and guide to PSC. Yes, Abhishek, good. So here, when we are talking about it, you need to understand that what are the possible areas you need to master. So what I can suggest is master civil services values chapter. Okay, GS paper 4. That's a must, because you've seen words like character, honesty, right, coming to the sub-segment knowledge. Instead of knowledge, there can be a word like wisdom. Sorry. So, a word like wisdom. So, wisdom or knowledge can be there in the topic when we discuss about it. We can also see like words related to like compassion. Compassion is again associated with this civil services value. So I'm just adding a star. So compassion, we can consider opposite of compassion also apathy. So anything as such can also be there. So we can, yes, um, if you document your day-to-day preparation also, Ghulam, that can also help you to build a flow in your expression beyond doubt. Again, the word excellence, excellence can be written as ideal, excellence can be written as utopian. Okay, excellence can make a sneak peek as perfect. Words like best, you've seen these words, right? Discipline, concern related to youth, truth, reality, real, concerns associated with life, perception. Okay, so these are some core areas which can be, or which I can say that in past 10 years, the topics which UPSC has prioritized is somewhere around these dimensions when we are going ahead with this. Please repeat first line. Civil servant should be friend, philosopher, and guide. Satya. Friend, philosopher, and guide for the people. Friend, philosopher, guide for the people. It's very often quoted. And that is something which has also qualified in a previous year question paper. Okay, you can see that previous year GS paper 4 question paper also had this specific statement. You can reflect upon that. Anyway, so you can see this possible target areas. Now, how to build the content? First, I'll show you a simplistic topic. Topic means not the entire topic, the word, like truth. Suppose there is a question related to truth, what would you do? And then we'll practice like how we can spin an essay, how can we can create a content in the essay related to the topics. So we can see this. First and foremost, how you should approach a philosophical topic. First, understand the keywords. What are the keywords? Then bring all the perspectives that you know to the table. Bring everything that you have understood so far, everything that you have learned and you have been exposed to, bring it in. On table means bring it on. Like one of the students wrote this towards the beginning of the session, the topic that I have given like as homework. So one of you like got stuck up with it and said that, ma'am, I was unable to understand the topic only. So I was like, no worries, I would be like substantiating this given dimension to all of you. So in this given topic, I think, therefore I am. For example, I think, therefore I am. In this given topic, what should have been initially done? Memorizing the topic. Then only you understand the keywords. So you memorize it multiple number of times, right? I think, therefore I am, right? I told you thinking is not possible for animals. What is thought? Is the capability to understand what's happening in front of you is only thinking? Or is the capability to recall the past, connect history, connect all scientific interventions, everything that has been taught, capability to contemplate all of it, capability to contemplate and introspect about past, present, future by bringing an integration of it is thinking, right? So thinking is what? Contemplate, introspect, right? So contemplate or introspect, all about being. All about being means existence. And when we are talking about all about being, it can be connected to past, present, and future. You can think of what future possibilities may open up, what interventions are required, what dimensions are needed. So I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. I think. Can animals do that? No. That's why thinking is something which is creating what? Civilization. Thinking is something which is creating what? Culture. I think, therefore I am. What is I am? Existence. I exist. Right? So my existence is associated with thinking. I cannot exist as I. So what is I? The civilized being. The civilized being. So the civilized being can exist. I. The civilized being. So the civilized being can exist only because the civilized being can think. Right? So when we are speaking of this given dimension, understanding the keywords, mince it, chew it, repeat it multiple times. And when you repeat it multiple times, it is then that the topic unfolds before you in letter and spirit. So we all can see that thinking is what? It is the cause. Right? And therefore, therefore is going to create what? Cause, effect, relationship. Cause, effect, relationship. What is the effect? Effect is my existence. So the cause is thinking, thus the effect is my existence. The nature of existence which is making me aware of I am there. Understanding the topic, understanding the keywords. So all those students who are struggling with respect to this, if one rationale is reasonable, then only he or she else will be a mere puppet in the hands of others. Yes, that also can be added. Thinking my past to use my past experiences, thinking my present to act rationally, thinking my future to make plan and effort to achieve it. So very true. It can be associated with individual, community, society, a country, everything. Sahil, we have discussed about levels, how the idea of I can expand, right? Rene Descartes, yes, Descartes can be associated with this topic. Cause and effect, Sakib, because I think is the cause, and because I think, thus the effect is that I exist. If I am not thinking, then the I doesn't exist. Then my existence will be more like an animal state, feeding myself, reproducing, and dying. Beyond feeding, sleeping, reproducing, and dying, if the I is remaining, that is only because of the thought, right? So that's something which all of us can connect. So when you think about it, thinking is the hardest kind of thinking one can think of. Great. But this loophole is not going to be created in your essay. Why it will act as a loop rather than an effective statement? Because loops are fine to have a rigmarole of words with friends. But writing something which is not leading anywhere may not empower. That's what. Right? Yes, I'll be discussing about that topic as well. The second topic as well. So we'll be discussing about the dimensions. I'll be building the entire content. I want to take it up like little later, that is after the break. First, I want to show you how to approach a philosophical essay. Just because I said understanding the keywords and I remembered some student was struggling with this topic. So I was like, before I elaborate, I've yet not elaborated the dimensions of the topic. Okay. So you have to bring all the dimensions and then you have to bring in current relevance. To begin with, this is how you start with an essay. Okay. And in details, brainstorming, brain mapping, all the segments will be brought. So see here. So for example, the word truth is there before all of you. So on the topic of truth, first recall what is the meaning of the word truth. So recall all the synonyms that you have been knowing, that you have been understanding. So fact, reality, ethical, right, appropriate, all these are like synonymous meanings of the word truth, right? Then where have you read this word truth? What are the perspectives? What are the segments? How have you been introduced to this term? So truth has been introduced to the word Satya. Satya, the word which has been like a quest since times immemorial. The term which has made it from Upanishads, or we can say from Vedas, Upanishads, the Jain texts, the Buddhist texts, all of them are talking about what is the truth, the ultimate truth. Even before the Vedas, the Sankhya is inquiring about truth. What is truth? What do we understand by it? So, what is the idea of Satya? Again, Satyameva Jayate. It is the truth that shall win, which is in your national emblem, which you recognize. Satya Chitta Ananda. Ananda is bliss. Chit is your state of existence, state of being. The heart, as simply put, but Chit is state of being. Sat is true. So when your state of being is submerged in truth, okay. So when the state of being is submerged in truth, you are constantly in a blissful state. Satya Chitta Anand. जिसका चित्त सत्य पे मतलब सत्य में merged है, ठीक है? Anyone's chitta which is merged in satya shall always be in a blissful state, shall always be in ananda. Okay, so satya is truth. When your state of being is always focused on truth, so when you're always like in the process of being in your true existence, realizing what the truth is, you shall always remain in a state of bliss. You shall always be able to maintain equanimity. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. What does this term mean? Satyam Shivam Sundaram. From where are we like arriving at it? Satyam is truth. Okay. When we are talking about Sundaram, it is associated with aesthetics. Aesthetics in our life. So, three aspects in our life, which is like, governing our principles of existence. So, truth, aesthetics, and something which is noble. Pure, noble. So it is truth, okay, the noble existence balanced with aesthetics of life, that it is creating a balance of existence. Oh, yes, there was an old song also, but well, it's not God per se, Payal. When you actually get into the world of philosophy, oh God, I was just getting about to sneeze. This is a very funny situation. Okay, I think I'm better. Okay. Again, you can reflect upon the sources of truth when we are discussing about it. That what are the sources of truth to begin with? Okay. So, under the components of, we can consider sources of truth, we can see religion. Religion has acted as a source of truth. Okay. And we all can see that, like when we are talking about religion, we all can reflect upon the possibility. See, like I hope, yes, you can connect it with Satyagraha also, Dheeraj. See, Payal, if you will be reflecting upon it like in an in-depth manner, you'll realize that the meaning is beyond God. It's not that I'm negating that it is not literally the segment, but rather than God, we can say godliness. Okay, purity. So purity is something which is like symbolized over here. Okay. Yes, aesthetics is what we can consider. And when we are speaking of it, yes, in the like aesthetics was something which I had connected with beauty of life. Yes, you can connect it with that also. Sundaram is associated with righteousness also. Yes, you can connect with that as well, Neetu. Very good, very good. Okay. So when we are talking about these possibilities, this all this will lead to the dimension of self-actualization, yes, balance of life, yes, sources of truth when we are talking about it. So religion, it gives us what is right in life, what is wrong in life. So religion introduces us to the idea of like truth. Media can inform us about what is happening around us if there is no yellow journalism. Okay, so media can act as a source of providing truth. Educational institutions can inspire us about what is true and what ought to be followed at all times. Law can inspire us with this given possibility. Social norms, thinkers, philosophers, leaders, reformers, administrators, all these, when they are, we can say, free from any prejudices, biases, or stereotypes, they are able to guide us as source of truth. Okay, so that's what we can consider. Again, so all these segments which I was saying, that when we are looking for truth, it should be free from stereotypes, free from prejudices, free from personal values. Okay, so you should not exercise any kind of personal values, free from any religious interpretation to the thought. There should be balance. Okay, there should be no ego, because all this can distort a person's vision. All this can create any kind of bias. Okay, so that's what we need to take care of. Truth is often hidden or it is unknown. We can see that. It is often hidden and unknown. Means some truth is not always overt and clear. It can be concealed. So I can talk about that dimension. How truth, that's why we say quest for truth. You must have been seeing that. Quest for truth. Finding truth. Quest for truth. Right? So that's what. Because truth is hidden. It is unknown. Okay, and again, what is popular most of the times may be not so true, untrue, not untruth, untrue. It may be half truth. And as it is like popularly said, a lie gets halfway around the world before truth puts on its boots. Why? Because false is quite viral. Okay, it's sensational, so it becomes viral very quickly. So while truth is about to catch up, false insights, perceptions, statements have already spread. And the rumor mongering is something which is like, we can consider is something which is constantly changing our or altering our existence. Truth requires personal effort. It requires investigation. Why? Because it is concealed. So because it is concealed, we all can see that because the idea is concealed, it will need a personal inquiry and investigation. It will need experience. Because truth is also arrived at by experience. We arrive at truth also with experience, right? Albert Einstein, he had quoted this statement. The only source of knowledge is experience, right? I'm forgetting this. There was this movie which was associated with, in Hindi only, which was associated with a very renowned, senior actor. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie. So he's constantly inquiring about truth. And he's like, whatever is true, I'll only follow that. Something which I cannot understand, something which I cannot experience, I will not consider it. So his family discloses him to be an, yeah, Devanand's movie was also there, but I'm not talking about that. Okay, Aankho Dekhi, I don't, yes, probably the name was Aankho Dekhi. I'm forgetting the name of the actor. He is a very senior and a renowned actor. So in that also you could, no, not, not talking about, oh my God. Okay. So when I'm speaking of this, in yes, Aankho Dekhi was the, Sanjay Mishra was the, yes, Sanjay Mishra. I'm talking about him. So Aankho Dekhi, which is by Sanjay Mishra, he is the lead actor. It's like a very interesting take on this issue of experience. Towards the end, he dies in the quest for truth. That how to accept things, how to believe, how to take things. His death might sound little, or when you witness that scene, you might find it little stupid. But you have to understand, a person who's too deep in that philosophy may get into extremes. That's what happens to him. That's what probably would have happened to many scientists in the quest for truth. And in the quest for truth, getting to experience and then innovating different types of medicines, goods, possibilities for us. What all, struggles they must have undergone to arrive at solutions for us. So that is something which we all can talk about. So, truth is the only source of knowledge, and it is associated with experience. Yes, Descartes also believed in the same. And you will see that a lot of insights which we are discussing now will get its pronounced insight or pronounced details in the two essay topics that we will be discussing. Okay. But I'm just holding first a brief overview, how you can build the content. Okay. So, similarly, work on issues like values, humanity, and how values and humanity also you can connect it with truth. When you are a true person, then when you're guided by truth, the values you possess is associated with how you are getting guided on day-to-day basis, the decisions that you are taking on day-to-day basis, how it is somewhere associated with in-depth values like integrity, like transparency, that comes only when you are guided by truth. Similarly, how a person who's guided by truth will also be guided by humanity. Because a person who's guided by truth will be concerned for all, will be understanding the importance of collectivity, will be understanding the importance of coexistence. And a person who's guided by truth will be the person who will be able to take care or take regard of terms like love, kindness, honesty, helpfulness, loyalty. Because if truth is missing, you can see all of them will be blown off in the air, right? Okay, thank you, Prashant, for recalling all the leaders, okay, who don't get much fame. But right now we are not discussing about the actors. We are discussing about truth. That's also a truth what you are sharing, but we are focused on the topic of truth. Meanwhile, okay. So when you are developing a topic, try to recall famous thinkers who have shaped that concept. Okay, some popular thinkers you can enlist can be associated with Buddha, Mahavira. Okay, you can think of Gandhi, Nehru. You can think of Patel. You can think of Ambedkar. Right? You can think of Mother Teresa, Baba Amte, or you can think of any such social worker or reformer, social reformers, workers who have worked towards the benefit of the larger society and people. Recall some service oriented NGOs. They can be local level, they can be international level, like Amnesty International, okay, some peace foundations, etc. Think of ethical media and the kind of impact it can create. Think of honest politicians, if they are, and what kind of impact they can create. Okay, so that's something which will strengthen your content. Gandhi's talisman, his concept of trusteeship, Kant's categorical imperative, the Ubuntu philosophy, and the insight, the depth which you have related to greater power comes with greater responsibility. These are some core reflections which can be used in majority of the essays. Majority of the essays. Ubuntu philosophy, remember I had discussed it during the ethics class. I am because we are. I changed the question for all of you. So I am because we are. I gave you the example of like the kid who got a fruit, and the kid went and shared it with the friends, and later on the researcher provided a basket full of fruits and said that this is all yours, you should eat it, so keep it to yourself and just you try to eat it. That kid laughed, went back again, shared it with again family, friends. Okay, so the researcher was interested and just said that why did you distribute it with others, to which the kid said Ubuntu. So what does the word Ubuntu mean? So Ubuntu means I am because we are. In collectivity, the individual can survive. The collectivity has nourished the individual, so it is the responsibility of the individual to give back to the collectivity. Because that is how harmonizing of existence can take place. That is how frictions can be eliminated. That's what. That's how probably a symbiotic relationship can be established. That's the truth of existence. Human beings have umpteen needs, necessities. As I get up, I need toothpaste. I need a toothbrush, a nice functional toothbrush. I prefer an electric brush many a time. Okay, so or a battery operated brush. And the thing is, I need soaps, I need shampoos, I need body wash, right? I need shoes, I need clothes, I need food. None of it I can create or grow. None of it I can innovate, from electricity to gadgets to everything. So, as a human being, I have a lot of needs, but I am not capable to produce. So, I will be giving my best, what I can produce, and I will be getting all the other things from what others are producing and creating for my easy existence. A symbiotic relationship of interdependence is creating who we are, and the realization of this truth will create balance. Okay, so that's what. This is how you can connect Ubuntu philosophy. Gandhi's talisman, Govinda had quoted multiple times during the ethics session. I also quoted in one of the essay sessions previously. I said it is there towards the beginning of your IGNOU material, or it is also there towards the beginning of NCERT books, in which, yes, exactly, Ravi, you have to recall the poorest person you have ever seen. And you have to ask yourself whether whatever you are deciding to do will help the person directly or indirectly or not. That was also given, I had discussed, if that is, again, I'm saying, Govind, you were absent in the previous class. Because towards the end of previous class, we were discussing about sources which we can consult for essay writing. And in that, if you remember, I had quoted this specific essay, Panoramas of Development, in which I had shown you how Gandhi's talisman was used even in Yojana conclusion. It was written, the father of the nation had observed, recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man you have seen, and ask yourself if this step you contemplate is going to be any use to him. These words convey the entire spectrum of development and should be the cornerstone of all development policies. This is Gandhi's talisman, what is put under quotes. All right. So, all those who forgot, or Govind, as you were not present or attentive at that time. Fine. I hope all of you take it in the positive spirit. When I say that you were not attentive or this person was not paying attention, this is just to bring a correctional, behavior, or to make you alert with respect to your presence. If your parents and teachers don't work on your weaknesses, who else will? If we are not answerable to hyphenate where you are going wrong and shake you to alertness, who else will? Okay, so any student, whenever I say so, don't take it in negative spirit or don't take a back foot. Take it in positive spirit, that I'm really concerned for you. Anyone, any student. Okay, and yes, in this situation XY, I'm not a critique. Okay, though I had given that quotation related to the critique, that nindak niyare rakhi angan kuti chhawaya. That's for larger life. But when parents and teachers, they hyphenate our limitations, that's a blessing, because they do it out of complete love. A critique may not do so out of love or out of compassion or out of will to transform us. The person might do with caustic tendencies, or we can say negative intentions. But parents and teachers, they'll always try to hold us and pull us up and bring this insight that, see, look where you're not paying attention. As I told you towards the beginning of today's session, that my senior, my mentor, he said that, oh, you are saying that students are not organizing. When have you written the essay last? I was like, sir, a few years back. Why don't you write the essay again and identify by your own self what possible challenges the students must be facing while writing the essay? That's the job of a mentor. Hyphenating the limitations in our thought and action and making us better versions of ourselves. Yes? So that's what. You constantly have to get inspired, because see, these topics which are given as essay, you cannot think and write in this manner until unless it is a part of your thought process and idea. That's why I always say that who we are improves our skills. Not that, for example, the person I will grow every single day will improve even my teaching skills. So the improvement in teaching skill is an outcome of the personality development and personality improvement that I'll work on in terms of every aspect, my thought, my action, my effort, every single thing. It is associated with all of us. All right. So keep working, keep working. That's what, when we are discussing about it, right? Again, when we are further substantiating this given subsegment, we all can see that greater power comes with greater responsibility. This is again an insight you can connect with majority of the topics. All right, students. So take this in cognizance. Tried for the topic, I think, therefore I am, like ways it will always reflect. Yes, yes, yes. So very true. We'll be discussing about the topic definitely. Okay. So let us spin and create a philosophical essay. Let's start with this area after the break. So it is 6:48. Let us take a 15 minutes break and let us take that up. Now, so I gave you the topic, I think, therefore I am. So first we'll be reflecting upon this one, and then we'll be reflecting upon the next one. There is no truth, only perception. Okay, so we'll be reflecting upon that as well. Because truth, you saw so many segments I opened which you could create, which you could think, and then something more than that. So all those possibilities need to be addressed, right? Just a second, mistake. Okay, so with respect to this given topic, how you could have started with this topic, I think, therefore I am. So you could have, there are multiple introductions, possible introductions. So you could have thought about, like, for example, if you want to incorporate anecdote, you can think of Siddharth Gautama. So the Prince Siddharth, he became Buddha only because of the thought that touched upon him, and it dawned that life is never free from pathos, pain, death, disease, right? And the quest that what is the true purpose of life, that is something which all of us can connect, is was like related to his quest for enlightenment, and that is something which brought about change in his life, right? It was the quintessential possibility related to that question that triggered or that affected him so deeply that he renunciated the regular life, the life of a prince, all the luxury of this world, and he stepped out. He stepped out in the, we can say, in the public domain, and he stepped out of the, sorry, public domain, and he moved in places of isolation, and he kept reflecting upon what is happening, why is it happening, and what ought to be the real motivation behind our existence. So overcoming the evils, the evil impact of Mara. Mara is associated with, we can consider, all the challenges which we experience because of we being mortal beings. So we are mortal human beings. We are like we can consider, we are exposed to death, disease, vulnerability. So the that is connected in the mythology associated with Mara. So it is that possibility that could bring about a change. So the content that probably I can propose to all of you associated with this area. So I can first and foremost take up the introduction. Under introduction, you can think of Siddhartha Gautama. So Siddhartha Gautama, and you can start with him. You can connect with his quest for enlightenment, and this quest for enlightenment is somewhere associated with or associated with he constantly questioning the purpose of life. So enlightenment, so questioned the purpose of life, and that thought. Okay, so enlightenment, or the enlightened state is a result of his thought. That's what all of us can consider. So is a result of thought, or like we can say, it is an illuminating root associated with truth, if I connect it with the next topic, truth. Anyway, or there could have been another introduction. You could have recalled Socrates, right? And Socrates, how he drank the lethal hemlock, right? So lethal hemlock, remember that bowl of poison that was given to him, right? So drank the lethal hemlock, sorry, HEM. So okay, so for upgrading, or we can say safeguarding his intellectual and political freedom, to safeguard his intellectual freedom. Okay. Or as one of your friends said, ma'am, can we start with Rene Descartes? I was like, yes, you can. So you can connect it with Descartes. And when you are connecting it with Descartes, you can think this given possibility that he proposed the notion. Okay. The notion that thinking itself affirms our existence. Thinking itself affirms our existence when we speak of it. Okay. So the first principle of Rene Descartes' philosophy, if I talk about his first principle, I'm just writing so that everything is for you, like it is served before you and you're able to connect with it. Okay. So when I'm talking about him, he gave the Latin phrase cogito ergo sum. What is cogito ergo sum? Which is typically translated into English as I think, therefore I am. Okay, so I think, therefore I am. Okay, cogito ergo sum. So in this essay, when you are delving deep and you are profoundly evolving with a topic, this is how you arrive at a given topic, and this is how you are able to, I would say, develop the insights sharply. Okay. Again, with respect to the body, when we are talking about it, so then you can think about the body. You can have your, because Socrates is not ready to compromise with truth. So you are suggesting mic is good. Oh, acha. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There is a disturbance with respect to mic, because when I really apologize for that. It's my bad. I kept the mic on the side because I was getting down to pull the bag and I thought it will drop. So as I took the break, I kept the mic aside, and when I started the session, I just put on the like I switched it on the this microphone, and I forgot that it's not yet clipped, and that's why the problem. I believe it must be fine. His biz from my side only because of this given reason that it was very distant from me. Okay, all fine, all good. Okay, so with respect to this, because Socrates is not ready to compromise with truth, yes, that's why he drank the poison. Can the topic be linked with the concept of subconscious mind? Yes, if you want to, you can do that. All right. So, yes, because it was on. That's why I was audible, but it was not completely functional because it was too distant, the mic. All right. Now, with respect to this, when we are talking about the body, so I believe all of you can understand, like Siddharth Gautama, you can think of Socrates, you can think of Rene Descartes, and you can like connect with this given dimension. Anjali, if you can hear me, just like refresh. Okay. Just refresh. Now, with respect to this, when we are further moving ahead, so Descartes, after quoting Descartes, if you suppose someone knows about Descartes, you can write like one para associated with Descartes. Plus, but please remember, the question is not about Descartes. So you don't have to elaborate the entire content of the essay around Descartes. That will be something which will be colossally wrong. Okay. So first you can like recall all the segments. Ma'am, third thinker, Rene Descartes, RENE. Oh God. Okay, Sai. Wait, I'll just write it. Okay. And Descartes, DESCARTES. Don't get about the third thinker. No problem. If you don't know about the thinker, you don't need to write. It's for those who, like, for example, in the class, also one of the students few minutes back asked that, ma'am, can I quote Descartes? I was like, yes, you can, because he is the person who proposed this idea. I think, therefore I am. He said that the notion that the moment we are thinking, it is affirming that we exist. That means human beings tend to exist, or their existence as a human being is hyphenated the moment we say that the person is thinking. Okay, so it is thought that is affirming the possibility of, we can consider people existing. Colossal. Okay, Sakib, try to find the meaning of colossal, COLOSSAL, not SAL. Okay, so that's how you will be able to find the meaning. Okay, now, so with respect to this, when we are talking about the main body, so in the main body you can talk about Rene Descartes. So you can talk about Descartes, and as you are discussing about Descartes philosophy, very briefly, if you know, discuss briefly, discuss briefly. And when I say briefly, please do not write more than, I would say, 70, 80 words. Imagine, just 70, 80 words, not more than that. Otherwise, you lose the game. The examiner soon will get disinterested and will be like, oh, the child has connected it with Descartes, so Descartes philosophy is not what I asked. So the child is going on and on with Descartes philosophy, and that is not something which is going to be a valid explanation to why there is a lack of multidimensionality in your essay. Okay, so you can just discuss about like a lot of ideas associated with this given statement, and then you can further substantiate that how human beings have traditionally contributed, have traditionally contributed. So how human beings have traditionally contributed when we discuss about this given possibility. So how they have traditionally contributed, we can consider like at both, we can say, individual level as well as at communal level. At communal level, at both levels, this is because of thinking, because of thinking. Okay, so that's something that you would be talking about. And when you are discussing about this, we can also connect thinking with experiencing, connect it with believing when we speak of this given subsegment. So experiencing, sorry, belief गलती से लिख दिया. Okay, so experiencing, believing, we can consider the segments associated with our perceptions. So the perceptions that we possess, okay, perceptions, ideas of reality, ideas of reality, how we are framing our opinions or ideas associated with reality, okay, and that is also going to determine how we are going to interact with the world. And patterns of interaction, patterns of interaction, all that gets determined by how we are thinking. So it is thinking which is going to lead to this given possibility. Okay, thinking, that's going to create ideas of reality, experiencing, believing, perceptions, patterns of interaction. All right, then after this, when we are moving further ahead, you can, just a second, I had to add a slide. So you can further like reflect upon in this topic how we relate into, yes, we'll come to that, Payal, soon. Okay, that will be like when I'm discussing brain mapping. First, like in brainstorming, all the ideas that can be generally put. So like, because this is something which all of you are not aware of, this background associated with Descartes, so I just introduced that what could have been written related to him. Okay, now as we are further moving, ये क्यों नहीं बढ़ रहा है भाई? अच्छा, so yeah, so when we are discussing about this given subsegment, we can like reflect upon certain other areas. Okay, so in this you all can discuss about the like a body further continued if I discuss about it. So you can talk about traditionally how human beings have thought. So you can quote Yuval Noah Harari. So I don't know how many of you have read, but Yuval Noah Harari is quite popular modern day author, a noted Israeli author. He is associated with writing books on human evolution, quite grandiose theory, quite controversial also. So he also suggests that human beings are different from animals due to thinking, different from animals due to thinking. Suppose you don't know the thinker, no problem, you can write the idea. This is some idea that I was also sharing few minutes back. That's something which is effortless. I think everyone can think of it. Okay. Connected with history. In the segment of history, if you are able to recall thinkers, so Immanuel Kant, if you remember, we had discussed about him. You can think of John Locke, you can think of Voltaire, you can think of Rousseau, any number of thinkers that you remember. So these are the thinkers who have, we can say, who questioned the established institutions and ideas because of their thinking. So established institutions and ideas because of their thinking. right? After this, connect it with thinkers of, just briefly just mention that the thinkers of period of enlightenment were able to empower the world because of, we can consider enlightenment. They could, we can consider the thinkers of period of enlightenment, they could empower the world because of their ideas, their perceptions associated with how the world evolved, right? So thinkers of period of enlightenment, um, and their thoughts shaping the world, thoughts shaping the world, right? That's how we all can connect with it, right? Further ahead, we all can reflect upon the segments, and we all can like, so you can talk about thinkers of the period of enlightenment, you can think of scientists, you can think of social reformers, right? Social reformers, you can connect it with present day reality as well, all the social reformers, even with respect to present. When we are discussing about it, how to miss Swami Vivekananda? So when I'm speaking of Swami Vivekananda, okay. So when I'm speaking of Swami Vivekananda, he stressed the value of thought and introspection. And he said that talk to yourself, talk to yourself one, at least once in a day. At least once a day, or you may miss meeting, or you may miss meeting with an excellent person in the world. Okay, you may miss meeting an excellent person in this world. So both the things, you possess that excellence and awareness of that excellence will make the possibility of you talking to yourself. That's, and how do you talk to yourself? By thinking. That's what importance of thinking. Okay. So you can connect it with the possibility of how various types of social problems like got eliminated, from slavery to, we can say, bondage, to all forms of we can say practices which were leading to exploitation of human beings. So you can enlist those possibilities as well. Okay. Further ahead, when we are like reflecting upon this, think of social reformers like, we can say, Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Think of Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. Right. So recall all of them and discuss how their critical thinking brought social progress. Okay. Critical thinking leading to social reforms and progress. Social reforms, progress. All right. So like this is how you would be reflecting upon it. Okay. Culturally also, if we speak of it, cultural, educational, if you remember I had discussed all this, cultural, educational, okay, technological, political contributions leads to what? It leads to soft power. When we speak of it, it leads to soft power as we are substantiating the same, right? So I hope all of you are getting some idea. So cultural, educational, technological and political contributions leading to soft power. Okay. I hope all of you are able to substantiate the given components. We'll be taking up, yes, you can think of Jyotiba Phule. Um, um, Again, we can also connect, yes, you can think of like APJ Abdul Kalam. You can think of religious book like Bible. Yes, Femina, it can be Bible, Quran, it can be Gita, all of it when we are speaking of it. All right. John Stuart Mill, yes, as a thinker, he could have been there. Narayan Guru, yes. Can one aspect be research and development? Yes, because when we are talking about science and technology, here scientists. So this is associated with R&D. Yeah. Okay. So can we, how it changed over time? Yes, Bhumika, you can trace the evolution also. What you think you become? Yes, that's there. That's also there. So, God, I got so many calls today, and because of which I just picked one of them and I could not even understand what the person was speaking. Anyway, I'll just attend that little later. So, cultural, educational, we can consider technological and political contributions leads to soft power, connected with the idea of soft power as well. Okay. So, Rangila, what Rangila? Santosh, I cannot connect with the word Rangila, what you are writing. I mean, probably you can substantiate a sentence because it's not getting connected. So yes, you can think of that. You can think of other than soft power. So you can connect, think like countries which have used soft power successfully. Like you can think between US and Japan. You can think India in its track to diplomacy when we were sending the bus to Islamabad, right? So think of all that soft power, how it brings in a lot of balance. Can we speak about scientific research? I think you can see this scientist when we are talking about period of enlightenment, and I have written R&D scientist. Okay, so just connect it later with Indian scenario as well. Okay, so when we are discussing about this, you can also talk about its importance in the field of education, connected with the field of science and tech. In fact, rather than writing this randomly, I want to take it up as brain mapping. So I'll just remove these two. I'll be taking this up in like a little while. Okay, so like let me connect it with brain mapping little later. You can also, because I'm trying to enlist all the thinkers, like insights which are flashing, so in one go, and then take it up from brain mapping possibility. Hannah Arendt, you can talk about her. So Hannah Arendt, she also advocated critical thinking, and we can consider critical thinking and what is it called, active participation of people. So active participation in politics, active participation in politics to prevent totalitarianism, to prevent totalitarianism. All right, you can also think of Machiavelli, right? Machiavelli was the person who had spoken of like we can say separation of religion from state, separation of religion from state. I said politics, separation of religion from politics. He was initially criticized as being evil, but it is later, okay, later his ideas paved the way for secularism. Later his ideas paved the way, right, for secularism. So that's what you can think. So think about all social movement reformers like Wangari Maathai and all. Okay, so all social, environmental, political reformers can be enlisted. Okay, I think therefore I am. You can recall Thomas Alva Edison, right? So Edison also had, remember he had said that when he was falling how to make a bulb, and finally he could make that bulb, he said this given possibility, after making the bulb, he said that I have not failed. I have not failed. I've just found thousand ways of, I have just found thousand, thousand था कि 10,000 I think 10,000 था. So it was 10,000 ways, 10,000 ways that won't work. That won't work. You can connect it with Maslow's self-actualization, isn't it? So Abraham Maslow and his concept of self-actualization is also associated with thinking. So self-actualization, right? So you can think of that given possibility as well. So, and when you don't think, then what are the problems? We can think about that, right? So probably what I can now create is, because we have like enlisted an array of thinkers and ideas in one page, now we can think about like brain mapping. So let us take the insight associated with brain mapping, all about the topic, okay? And let's open the segments. So, oh, Muhammad Shah Rangila, you're talking about him. Okay, Santosh, got it. So Thomas Hobbes, yes, you can think of him as well. Okay, so 100 times. Oh, I don't know. I remember 10,000 times, Gulam. Okay, so now Chanakya, yes, you can think of Chanakya, definitely. Questioning the matrix. Oh, yes, that will be all the more interesting. So now, with respect to this, when we are speaking of it, so you can, I think, therefore I am. So from ancient, like Indian or world possibility, you can consider or evolution of human beings. So ancient times, evolution of mankind, to, if you can remember, thinkers and philosophers, thinkers shaping thinkers, scientists, or we can also say people known unknown. Okay, people known unknown, who have eased our existence, eased our existence because of thinking, like how to use basic things like fire, how to use water, how to, like, bring safeguard the possibilities related to the, we can say, forms of nature. So forms of nature, how to take care of it. So that's something which eased our existence. In medieval times, again, you can think of a lot of, I would say, another set of interventions that have been created in the past. So in medieval times, you can think of karkhanas. Talk about simple people also. Think of artisans. Everyone finding like simple solutions. When I say artisans, they were the one who made the purest steel in the world, which is called wood steel. So you can think of wood steel. So you can think of the fine silk work and all that. All that is because of India was like excelling in global trade. So you can think of all of it because of thinking. So scientific breakthroughs, scientific, artistic breakthroughs. You see, optical illusion is so much there in Taj Mahal, if you ever visit Taj Mahal. And from Red Fort also, where Shah Jahan was there, from there also there are points of optical illusion. So if you actually find all this segment out, you can talk about it. So after this, first you are recalling the content, Kusum, then you can choose how to create the flow between them. And that's how you can like create the segments. Yes, algebra also you can think, Sakib, very true. So Valerian steel is Game of Thrones. There's nothing like Valerian steel. Okay, ज़्यादा Game of Thrones मत देखिए, संतोष. So there is nothing like Valerian steel. There is wood steel that existed. Valerian steel लिख रहे हैं. Oh God, this did happen. I still remember that this happened all the more when this Game of Thrones seasons were going on. Students used to write very easily Valerian steel, and I was like, "Hey, Valerian steel," and are you blending mythology with it? So anyway, when we are speaking of this, you can further move ahead and you can talk about the present time period. So connect it with present, that how thinking is shaping our world. So thinking, and in present times, again, you can connect thinking with an array of possibilities. So you can think that thinking, what kind of values it generates, how it is easing our environmental existence, economic existence, political existence, social cultural existence. Existence. is eased. Is eased. Think about the possibility that after this, like in future, what kind of thought process. So you can arrange this when you are arranging it. The future component can be written little later. So future, how do we need to think? What ideals need to be preserved? What ideals need to be preserved? Ask yourself. And after this, you like get into the component of levels. So in levels, think about what an individual ought to think. So individual, like we can consider about innovations and discoveries, innovation, discoveries that have been done with individual efforts. You can think of that. Reforms, social, environmental, political. And this is what we were connecting with present thinking. So we were connecting it with it. So reforms at individual level. Think at family level, what thoughts ought to be there. I'm thinking, therefore I am. So how the ideals of family are preserved. Ideals of family are preserved. And that makes us a social being. Okay. Preserved to make us a social being. Then after that, from family, start thinking that I think, therefore I am. So this I, if we are connecting with it. So for an organization, what is it important to think? Why and what is important for an organization to think? So should an organize, what are the ideals that an organization should keep in mind? Okay, so what should an organization think for its existence? So it's we can say sustainable long term existence, sustainable long term existence. So for its sustainable long term existence, like what is it that is important to be thought? So yes, you can connect Ubuntu philosophy also with respect to it. Uh, Code, well, Shruti, it should have been written quote, QUOTE. Okay. So that is something. No worries, Payal, just zoom it. Just zoom it, you will be able to see. So grandparents used to say this and that for this. Once my idea, अगर तुमने सोच लिया कि तुम कर सकती हो और सिर्फ एक नेक सोच रख कर ही तुम बाकी लोगों के आगे हो गई हो. Okay, all right, Shruti. So you can always like abbreviate it and make it more powerful in expression. That is something which can be done. How many words should we devote for thinkers? Should we emphasize more on thinkers? No. It's not like Abhijit, the concept is not associated with only thinkers. So you have to bring in a pool of insights. So scientists also, social reformers also, thinkers also, larger context, because thinking has been done by humankind, right, over the centuries. So giving contribution to a handful of them by devoting like 40% of the essay will not be suggestible. So because a lot of people have contributed. I mean, who discovered fire and its usage, or who made the first wheel, is not known, but they have been some very important like discoveries. So we cannot consider that like only the people who are known or acknowledged are the ones who have contributed. Let the common demos, who is, we can say, the foundation stone of human civilization, be also recognized. And that is possible only when you're bringing in balance. All right. So in future context, can we add new innovations in artificial intelligence? Yes, yes, yes. You'll, Santosh, realize you're adding those ideas when science and tech component is opening. Are you seeing over here, I opened times? After times, I have opened levels. Okay. So after like this, so organization after organization, think about how a topic can be built, a philosophical topic can be created from the perspective of, like, let's say, after organization, family, like all these segments, think it from the regional perspective. Okay, for regional development, why and how thinking is important. So is thinking important? You can compare states. Okay, compare the development rate. of the states with the vision of those leaders, with vision of the leaders. For example, now please mind it, your example should be balanced. Suppose you're comparing, like let's say Kerala with, like let's say Bihar, and suppose the person who is evaluating the copy gets triggered, will not be helpful. So you have to maintain a balance. How to maintain the balance? So I'll give you an idea. Post independence, the leading states with rate of development were, you can see, West Bengal. No, first and foremost, it was UP and Bihar. You will be surprised to know that. So, UP and Bihar. After that, you can see that West Bengal will be coming in terms of development. But like we can say, just 50 years after independence, the leading states that were truly developing were states from southern parts of India, like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. We can see that the development just reversed to the southern parts of India. And it was because of the idea of development which the leaders of those states possessed for their people. So, and the kind of leaders that people were choosing for themselves. So I think, therefore, I am. So the kind of possibility I am creating, I'm existing with, is associated with the thought and vision that I possess for myself regionally as a society. Okay, so that's how you can connect this given dimension. Okay, again, when we are talking about it, I think, therefore, I am. You can also think it as a nation. Whatever a nation thinks creates the possibility of national development. So Japan was also bombed, okay, and it was devastated, and a lot of countries gained their independence simultaneous to, we can say, the time period when Japan was it was just like, wiped down to ashes. And still the rate or the pace of development which Japan could exercise was far better and far, we can say, like improved compared to, we can consider, a lot of countries, a lot of states which we all can find around us, right? So that's something which you can connect with. Okay, long term goals, yes, you can think of that also. You can connect it with sustainable development goals of world. Okay, so think about the world, and with respect to world, you connect it with sustainable development goals. Okay, connect it with, earlier there was millennium development goals. Today there is sustainable development goals, which is also determining what the world is thinking, hence aspiring to go. Okay, or aspiring to reach that given possibility. I hope all of you are gaining some kind of clarity. We have just discussed times and levels. Okay, then you can reflect it with respect to sections of society. Under the component of sections of society, because see, first I gave you an overview about the topic. First, an introduction. After introduction, I proposed an overview, like whatever thoughts are coming related to thinkers, this and that. So some overview related to that. Then brain mapping, and brain mapping sheet, like creating the content. Can we write the reference of 17 SDG? Don't make the content boring. I mean, just imagine something, Rashmi. You are evaluating the content for such a topic, and a child has written 17 sustainable goals. And you're reading one goal, second goal, third goal, fourth goal, and like, "Arey bhai, why has the child written all the goals?" Right? Yeah, like you can just hint that the sustainable development goals are taking care of multidimensional concerns, from poverty, hunger, to human health and well-being, to sustainable cities, environmental concerns, and international cooperation, to enlist few. That's how you are supposed to write it. One sentence. Yes. Brief does not mean, because already the sustainable development goals are already brief. So there's nothing like briefer than this. One sentence. That's it. Okay. So it will not be relevant to the topic. Yes, you're going in detail, it will be irrelevant. Okay. So sections of society. How do we exercise compassion? You exercise compassion when you think. Okay. When you, how do you exercise empathy? When you think. Right. And that is what is needed towards the vulnerable sections of the society. Okay, so that is something which is going to impact, like social interventions beyond political interventions. So when we are talking about different age groups, needing different interventions. Age groups needing different interventions. Adolescent girls need safety and security, right? When we are speaking of like different types of interventions associated with the old age population, children needing different level of intervention. Think about the intervention, the caste, the component of gender, the component of religion. Don't elaborate, you don't have that space. Say that caste, ethnic, gender, we can say religious diversity can be protected only with compassion, and it emerges from the thought for others. Okay, so diversity. Okay, diversity, strengthened diversity, tolerance. Okay, strengthened with thought. Then reflect deeper, even deeper. And in the process of reflecting even deeper, think about challenges. Okay, so sections of society. See, I did not elaborate upon the sections. See the smartness. If the question does not need too much of elaboration, I can just put comma and one sentence. Entire section of society, one sentence. So ethnic, religious, caste, gender based violence, disturbances and inequality can be done away with human compassion and thought. It is thought that is at the root of exercising diversity or strengthening diversity. Yes. So always choose where you have to touch and go and where you can elaborate. Is everyone sensing the power of brain mapping, how it has to be exercised for the topic? Yes, that's the balance. Because when you saw the topic, I think, therefore I am. Many of you are like, how to build the content. This is how you do it. Okay. Then recall the challenges or problems. What are the challenges to thinking? Now, you people tell me. What are the challenges to thinking? What should I write? Yes. What are the challenges to thinking? Okay, fine. Lack of knowledge, prejudices. So, lack of knowledge can lead to, I can say, prejudices and biases. Okay. So, prejudices, biases, or stereotypes. Right? Something else? Because many of you are just like going on with this challenges to thinking. So incorrect information. Okay. Something else? Overthinking is not a problem. I've discussed it in the previous session. Anurag, what is overthinking and what is the idea? Okay, very good. Montu, you are able to recall clever evil, the concept, very good. So when ethics, corruption, remember that diagram which we had discussed, ethical governance. So I had discussed a correlation between the three. Yes. So when I was discussing that when there is lack of ethics and a person is intelligent, so when lack of ethics is there, intelligence is there, that can lead to a clever evil, right? So you can think of it anyway. Challenges to thinking. In science, bring in artificial intelligence, robotics, like threat associated with it. Something more? Devoid of ethical gospel. Okay, occupied with small problems, hinder larger view. Okay, all right. Connect with society, devoid of ethical. This, okay, all right. So we can consider challenges to thinking can be lack of ethics. All right. Something more? Challenges to thinking. What can hinder thinking? Can't you think that lack of freedom, lack of freedom, lack of security? If there is no security, can you think freely? You'll be beaten up down to pulp for thinking freely, for criticizing, right? So lack of freedom, lack of security, lack of ethics. Ethics will lead to imbalanced moral compass. Here the problem will be within you, right? Yes, something more which all of you can think? Challenges to thinking can be overconfidence, yes, that will lead to foolhardiness. So overthinking. Okay, illogical, when a person is illogical. Something more. Okay, we can say corrupt thought process. So a corrupt person will lack, we can say, accountability and transparency. Okay, following blindly. Okay, fine. So here we can say hero worshipping will be a better word. So hero worshipping. Now, can you see that I am not creating it? All of you are creating. What are the challenges? Right? So, challenges to thinking can be cognitive dissonance, but cognitive dissonance is due to lack of ethics. So, if you want to bring it as a different point, fine, I'm writing it down, but when lack of clarity on ethics is there, that is something which creates a problem, right? Ah, so I can see a lot of you are able to fix the game to a great extent, right? Toxicity results due to lack of thinking. Yes, yes, yes. Biased, yes, prejudices, biases, stereotypes, we have written it. Yes, robotic labor, you can talk about it. Robotic existence or robotic labor work can also be related to challenges of thinking. We can see that Karl Marx discusses it as his concept of alienation. Hmm? Good, good, good. So a lot of you can think challenges to thinking. Great. So after you can see times, levels, sections of society, challenges of thinking. Thinking. Can we think of thinking I am, I think, therefore I am? Can we consider it from the perspective of types? Types. Can we consider? So already we have thought of levels of I, right? I as individual, I as family. So that has been taken up in types. Okay. I think types of thinking, dimensions we'll be covering up, right? Dimensions, sorry, by क्यों लिख दिया? So dimensions we'll be covering it up. So dimensions of thinking, economic dimension of thinking, political dimension, scientific dimension. So in dimensions of thinking, therefore I am, types of existence. So this will be done. Okay, this will be done. So when it will be done, so it is not needed. Not needed. We don't need to discuss types separately because we are seeing that types is already getting covered up. So don't take it up. See this. This is the smartness that you use, what to pick, what to leave. All right. Then after this, let us talk about dimensions. Under the component of dimensions, let us recall, I think, therefore I am. Socially, culturally, I think now you're capable. I don't want to stretch it up unnecessarily. So socially, culturally, how to think. Again, think of environmental thought, how it preserves your existence. If you exploit the environment, the I will not exist. Environmental backlash, different types of, we can say, floods or problems can also create that kind of problem, right? We can also connect it with, we can say, the component of political. After that, you can think of the segment associated with, we can consider some other dimension as well. So social, cultural, environmental, political, keep opening. Okay, economic. Think of it, how all these segments are creating a breakthrough. Psychologically, what kind of thought process ought to be there for the health of a given society, right? So keep reflecting upon this given idea. Okay, beyond this, when we are talking about it, so I think dimensions you are capable. Think of the quotients which I had shared with all of you. So what kind of thought process you need to have to strengthen your physical well-being, physical quotient. So what kind of I think, therefore I am, means what I eat, I become, right? So what kind of food I put in my mouth is going to design, or it is going to determine my thoughts or my, like, nerve cells, the health of my body, the functionality of my body. Think of it. Similarly, the kind of emotions that I feed to myself, the kind of emotions that I feed to myself determines my emotional strength. Okay. The kind of ideas, the books, the people that I hang around with determines who I become intellectually. right? Values, connect it with larger values. How thinking nourishes our values, how thinking creates and nourishes our values. Okay, so try to create it with this given subsegment, all the values that are there. Okay, so now everyone must be feeling like a boss, that I have so much of idea and so much of content to create, right? So okay, great. So then you can think of a conclusion. Under the component of conclusion, you can just think of first and foremost Albert Einstein. And Einstein, what am I writing? Okay, so Einstein, S-T-E-I-N. So when we are talking about Albert Einstein, we can reflect upon the statement that he had said. So any fool can know. Any fool can know. Full stop. See, it's a very easy statement. You can throw it before people if and when necessary, because it will be very necessary in the services for all of you to exercise it. Exercise it with a pinch of compassion as well. Don't be too hostile, because arrogance is not going to make you a good officer. But once in a while, underlining the stupidity is also essential for some eye opening exercise. So, this one, any fool can know. The point is to understand. Know means aware. What's happening? Any fool can be aware of facts, figures, what's happening. The point is to understand how, what, why things are happening. So now word limit is not a problem. All you have to learn is just like, streamline the possibilities. So you can just use this quotation, all right? Or you can also quote APJ Abdul Kalam. APJ Abdul Kalam. So Kalam Sahab, you can quote, he said that thinking should be our greatest asset. Think it should become our greatest asset because it helps because it helps our mind um, explore our mind explore every aspect of life, every aspect of life. Yes, right? So you can just substantiate the content accordingly, discuss that how the mysteries of this world are unfolded and eases our existence just because of thinking. So human evolution and growth is possible only with the, we can say, the exercise of the gray cells, and just substantiate it. Okay, so probably that's why I gave you two quotations. You can use these quotations also. So that's something which I think will help you to enable you to think that how individual and societal progress is laced within the possibility of thought, the thought which can transform the human reality in a multifold manner. All right, fine. In modern era, illiterate not who cannot read and write, rather who can't learn and understand. So very true. Yes, yes. Can we give a prescriptive pre-conclusion as to how to develop critical thinking? Yes, yes, very good, Neil. So yeah, you can give before the conclusion, if you want to give suggestions, you can enlist suggestions to improve thinking, or we can say all this, right? So suggestions to improve thinking. So you can talk about sources in the form of, we can say, internet. Talk about regulation, most importantly. What regulation? Discipline. Okay. What kind of people are required to be around you? So Okay, you can talk about those possibilities. Okay, so internet, books, you can talk about the possibility related to media, movies, you can talk about uh, like travel, but all of it needs this. Essence is in regulating and disciplining it. Okay, so talk about all those possibilities. Yes, socialization will play a quite a crucial role. Yes, awareness to eradicate evil completely. So regulation and discipline के साथ अगर आप चाहते हैं तो इसमें आप awareness भी डाल सकते हैं. Awareness and alertness. Alertness is there in discipline. So let me do away with unnecessary words. Fine. So I hope all of you have gained some kind of composure. Shall we move to the next topic, people? Yes. Cyber security. Yeah, science and tech, when you will be talking about in dimensions, no? So in science and tech, talk about cyber security and all of it. Okay, that's what you can do. All right, so let us move to the next topic. So next topic, so I mean, like, all of you are realizing that this was not a tedious job. All you needed was first to chew the topic. After chewing the topic, understanding it thoroughly. If you know some thinkers, philosophers, great. Even if you don't know, still you have a lot of content to create. If you are very thorough with like brain mapping. Brain mapping will help you to recall content. Sometimes from GS, sometimes from what you have observed in life, all different sources. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to. When I was seeing this, I think therefore I am, I was reminded of this Dr. Stone anime. It's kind of kiddish, meant for teenagers, but as I was watching it, I saw that how this young boy, who's a teenager boy who has, like, who was petrified to a stone and then he is revived after 3700 years, how he's trying to revive science systematically, and he's trying to say that how to create antibiotic, how to create a mobile phone, etc., like, and very like, very simply put, but very thought provoking questions. There was a question I remember: what is important to win a war? So people will say arms, ammunition, right? Food for people so that they are replenished, right? All that stuff. He said communication. It is communication which creates a strategic breakthrough in a war. And then you understand the importance of raw and ISI and all that, right? All the parallel kind of ways of tapping the phone and monitoring someone's internet activity and what not. So much is happening in the world. Communication, it plays the most strategic role to create a like breakthrough. Yeah, so that's what. So with respect to this, my pleasure, Neil, that in 6 days you are feeling that so much has happened. From scratch of essay, whereby you people were struggling with 3, 4, we can say pages, to the possibility to create so many pages, so much of content, and bring in GS2 relevance. Nothing new has to be done, but what is there in syllabus for 4 papers, read it thoroughly and from all good sources. Okay, like for example, many people get overwhelmed thinking about Shashi Tharoor. But Tharoor, while speaking, he purposefully introduces a lot of tough words so that people are overwhelmed and they get bold and they're like, oh my God, what kind of English is there? But if you see what Tharoor writes, it's very different. It is formal English and standard English. It's not so very tough. If you can read the Hindu, you can survive Tharoor's English while reading also. Like, for example, his piece of work, Pax Indica. If you read it, it's so very well written, and it is evolution of, we can say, IR, international relations, and how India has forged its relation internationally, culturally. It's so beautifully written, and it will nourish your insights related to IR and history and culture at so many levels. So that's why reading beyond, and that these are the bedtime books, which I always say. Reading beyond what is prescribed in your syllabus, when you get into that, it nourishes you with good vocabulary, right set of expressions, like nourishing different types of segments, and also provides you a lot of food for thought, a lot of out of box examples, which, like, it can nourish you at multiple levels for essay writing, for interview, make you a very interesting person. You'll know things. It's not like you're remembering only facts. See, with UPSC preparation, few of you who have been there in this journey for 6 months or so, you must be feeling that on any topic that you're hearing, you have an opinion about it. You are informed about it. If not completely, at least you are not like as point blank as your other friends who might be working in corporate sector or who might be in other domains of existence. You might be feeling so very empowered, isn't it? You must be feeling that um, the very, yes, TED speech are also very good. Like listening to the TEDx speeches are also good. They are also very empowering. But like, when you are reading something like that, you get aware, because listening to speech may not make you aware of the language. But when you're reading, you pay attention to flow of grammar, you pay attention to little anecdotes, you pay attention to vocabulary, right? So get into the habit of reading and writing. It might sound very traditional, but still your examination is based on the traditional pattern of evaluation. So this traditional pattern of learning will always be helpful for getting best possible marks for all of you. Okay. Now, with respect to this, good book list, so I was just talking about it. You can also read Development and Participation by Amartya Sen. In fact, Amartya Sen's book Idea of Justice is also good. You can also read Gurcharan Das. GC Das has also written good books. Um, Other than that, like India Descents is good, but it will be little tough for all of you. So India Descents actually talks about Shastrarth, the culture of Shastrarth that has existed for centuries together. But for reading India Descents, you need like little more reading. Like after completing all these basic books, then you can read India Descents. It's actually talking from ancient to medieval to modern times, which thinkers have paved the way of free thinking for India. Okay, that's why it's an amazing book if you reflect upon it and if you read. Mm, if someone is interested in philosophy, then there is Adi Shankaracharya by Pawan Kumar Verma. He is like a retired IAS officer, but very well written book, very eloquent. So that's there. There's so many books. You talk about it, like Gandhi's like we can say autobiography, you can read. It's very well written again, and it leaves you thinking. So a person who's like accepted as father of the nation, having the moral courage to accept all mistakes in life, it needs like we are nobody, and yet we try to carry a very healthy image before our neighbors, relatives, friends, right? So that's there. Anyway, so there is no truth, only perception. Shall we just delve into this topic? Okay. So this one, the second one. I know all of you have gained some confidence, but how about this? There is no truth. We were discussing about the idea of truth a few minutes back, but the second part we did not delve in while recalling the content. So there is no truth only perception. So one of the students said, "Ma'am, thoda perception bata dijiye kya hota hai?" So what is perception? We'll be discussing that with respect to truth. Okay. It's quite a thought-provoking statement, in fact, because, related to truth in the world of philosophy, there are multiple theories. What is truth? If you search what is truth, space philosophy, so many philosophers, and you won't be able to make sense out of it because you are neither a student of philosophy doing masters or something above, nor that critical analytical thinking has evolved. So I won't encourage all of you to listen to such like lectures to begin with, because that's not relevant, and unnecessary exposure is not required. Anyway, moving with this topic when we were talking about it. Okay. So first and foremost, there is no truth, only perception. So you can first talk about Anikantwad. There are options which I'm suggesting for the introduction. Okay. So you can talk about Anikantwad. And you can also connect it with ancient Jain philosophy. Both are connected. Okay. Ancient Jain philosophy. Oh, my mind is like working at a very speedier rate, and hence the hand is unable to catch up with the speed. So Anikantwad, an ancient Jain philosophy, and as you are substantiating, talk about the like we can say unique viewpoint that they gave for the first time. So unique viewpoint on reality and perception. on reality and perception through this like philosophy. Okay, so here you can talk about like Jain philosophy if I'm talking about it. So it discussed about the like no one has to get like overwhelmed that oh my god what is this Anekantwad. Okay, I'll just give one or two sentences, you'll understand the explanation. So this Anekantwad, which is also associated with Jain philosophy, it gives the metaphysical truth. Okay, so metaphysical truth, mm, it discusses metaphysical truth, also called Anekantwad. Okay, metaphysical truth, um, and that appeared for the first time in ancient India when we speak of it. So, what does it assert? It asserts that the ultimate reality is truth. The ultimate reality, and truth are intricate and multifaceted. Intricate means barik, something which is very fine. Intricate and multifaceted. Multifaceted or intricate and multifaceted. So, according to Jainism, it is impossible to sum up. So, you will be realizing that I won't be writing so much in a short while. I'm just giving a brief insight to the topic first, thus the language, then the same brain mapping thing, and we'll create a lot of insights. Okay, so it is like according to Jainism, we can say it is impossible to sum up existence. Oh, I'm thinking too fast, it seems. To sum up existence and the unchangeable, existence and the unchangeable truth in a single precise statement. Precise statement. Human beings and their assertions of absolute truth and their assertions of absolute truth of absolute truth are at best partial truths, and incomplete. Okay. You can also say the Anekantwad doctrine, it is associated with all knowledge assertions. So we can say all knowledge assertions must be qualified in various ways. In different ways you need to like validate, cross check, prove. Okay, so in various ways, including being affirmed and denied. Like accept it and then think how it is correct, deny it and then think how it is correct. Including, affirmed and denied. Okay. Again, when we are talking about this concept of Anekantwad, you can also connect it with non-absolutism. Non-absolutism, or we can say non-one-sidedness. One-sidedness. one-sidedness. Okay, so you're not biased, you're not having one-sided opinion, one kind of interpretation. Okay, and that is recognizing a diversity of, we can say, opinions. That is something which is associated with, we can say, various kinds of limitations of a person's perspective. Okay, different people's perspective, we can consider that. So anikantvad, it is something that is acknowledging our perception of the universe. It is associated with our, we can say, the different facets which are shaping us, the different factors which influences us, and then determines what we finally live. So there's not like one factor or one aspect of truth. There are multidimensional aspects which consolidates what finally happens. So the idea of truth cannot be connected with just one aspect. Anyway, other than Anekantwad, I should also connect it with Western philosophy. So I'll connect it with Michel Foucault. Okay, so Michel Foucault, when I'm talking about this thinker, remember, written as Foucault and pronounced as Foucault. Okay, so Michel Foucault, he is also a well-known French philosopher. So you will be quoting this person: there is no truth, only perception exists. There is no truth, only perception exists. There is no truth, only perception exists. Okay, so there is a constant interplay between reality and perception, right? Constant interplay between reality and perception. Okay, and then after giving this, you can delve into the essay, start discussing that how the intriguing notion of what we are living and experiencing in this world is associated with multiple perceptions, and can we go ahead with debating this topic. um, to a certain extent, it's not a debatable issue, if you see, because wholesomeness of truth is not always realized and not fully realized. And for different age, different time period, we all can see that there are multiple theories. Like there was a time when we were believing in geocentric theory. It was later that Copernicus, and we think of Galileo Galilei, who established the insights associated with um, heliocentric theory. So there's no truth, there is only perception which is guiding the world, and whatever the world is considering as truth. Like I can also quote our ideas of shadow. So shadow, how it is formed. Earlier we were thinking that shadows are formed because of other reason, and later we found that the reason was crests and troughs. So the very possibility of what is truth is constantly getting hyphenated. See, people did not understand the negative impact of radium, and that's one of the reasons, there were science kits whereby radium, little radium, I'm saying uranium, a bit of uranium, and yes, radium also was shared in the science kits of students in America in 1940s 50s, if you see. And it was later that they realized that it is poisonous and it can cause multiple disorders. Similarly, you can see how human beings, like in medieval centuries in Europe, women used to paint their skin with a specific kind of chemical which used to make their skin pale white. It was considered that frail skin, pale white, is the mark of beauty. But that led to cancerous possibilities. Okay, and people were exercising that. Similarly, a lot of food items that we were into consumption, that have been existed in human consumption, which was considered fit for health, it was realized, oh, it is unfit for health. So we have taken our own time to realize that what is good for us, or what ought to be there and what ought to be exercised. So there's no truth, there's only perception. We build a perception and then we live it, right? We build an image and we live it. So that's what we can consider. Motivated by first flow original opinions in exam, then the examiner will surely give. There can be a possibility, Kaushik, that the flow of thoughts which you are considering, which you feel like comes naturally to you. See, you can think of it. A standard 4 kid or a standard 5 kid can have a natural flow of behaving or thinking. But you understand that if the child is shaped in a way which is like value laden and which encourages a child to alter the behavior, the previous behavior, because of which, like, let us consider a child is naughty, or a child is, like, let's say, a bit deviant, high on energy, trying to enthuse the class with his energy. So, like, the energy is fine, but it needs to be regulated and channelized in the right direction. That is what you will feel, Kaushik, as a grown up adult towards a standard 5 child, right? The similar opinion the examiner will have for you, that your honesty is appreciable, but the honesty needs to be regulated in the way the answer is thought and formally presented. Okay. So, what you are accepting is very honest, a reflection associated with uh, like what is the flow of your thought. But the honest flow of your thought, though it is appreciable, yet there has to be a clarity in the way it should be regulated, channelized towards a, you becoming a better being who is capable to manage and regulate human emotion and thoughts, whether it is anger or sadness or depression. That applies to everyone. Okay. So because different human beings are charged by different kind of emotions, which can pull down the perception, which can pull down the effectiveness, which can pull down the participation as an officer. Okay. So rather than taking it as a virtuous act that I'm being honest, no, honesty whereby breakthroughs are needed. You're honest, that's great, but breakthroughs are needed, and you're not working towards it or accepting it, that can backfire. Okay. So let honesty be articulated in such a manner whereby breakthroughs have been achieved, and the breakthroughs you have achieved shapes your language, your thought, your perception related to a situation that you are asking for. Okay. So that's there. Can we contradict this topic? I just discussed, Shivani, that topic, the truth is the topic cannot be truly contradicted, because actually the wholesomeness of truth, the consolidation of truth is not there. I still remember that one of my professors in law faculty had once said that honesty is a complete word. Honesty, we don't say honestfulness, but truth can always have relativity. That's why we use the word truthfulness, as if there can be some emptiness related to truth, there can be relativity associated with truth, there can be, like, dimensions associated with interpretations of truth. Are you understanding that, Shivani, now? Yeah. Did you read the anecdote I had written in the introduction? Yes, yes, Shaimil, that was fine. Okay. So I hope all of you are getting an idea associated with, first, the connotation of the topic. From where is it coming? I am giving you the wholesome idea, so that I know that many of you don't even know about Anikantvad or the Jain philosophy or Michel Foucault. But as a teacher, I'm supposed to give you first the source. Suppose even if you don't know the source, but you are understanding the essence of this topic. All of you know about Copernicus. All of you know about multiple experiments in history which failed or which were altered, ideas that were altered, and we arrived at better insights and perceptions associated with our existence. Something which can bring in balance to our being, right? Can we note about natural and scientific truth? Yes, you can talk about natural and scientific truth, because natural and scientific truth are inalterable, and our capability to understand and interpret it creates ease of existence. So that's how. Yes. So now, very good. All of you are able to think of a lot of examples related to autoimmune disease or all that. That's great. So when you get there is no truth, only perception, first connect it with history, that how historically, okay, we can connect this given segment. So from the perspective of history, connect it. Then in history, then after that, think about it from the perspective of present reality, that in the present reality, how the component of truth can be associated with a false information, and this false information, fake news, okay, fake news connected with deep fakes, and all this is also referred post 1990 is considered as the era of, we can say, post-modernity, and post-modernity questions everything. It questions everything, questions everything by negating by negating it. जो भी बताया जा रहा है गलत है, ठीक है? So by negating it. So when you're questioning everything and negating it, that is called post-truth. That what is true we don't know, because every side is presenting its own case. The PM will say something, there will be facts to prove him. The opposition will be saying something, there will be facts to prove it, okay, or prove all of them. So what is truth? It is tough to know, because we are living in the times of post-truth. So there is no truth, there is only perception. And who is selling this perception? Media. Media will be further selling this perception. Okay, so connect it with media selling perceptions. Selling perceptions. Mukesh Ambani once said that Indians are data rich. And even before they become money rich, they become data rich. Like, for example, Indian YouTubers, he said that they are data rich. There are millions of views for even random things. And when they become data rich, it takes them time to realize with multiple subscribers over the time period, they become, we can say, like rich even in terms of money. I remember once Nitin Gadkari was saying this thing that I don't need to become corrupt. I keep giving regular speeches and I have my own set of subscribers and followers on YouTube, and I make 3 lakh rupees per month. So I don't need like a lot of money, and my basic needs are taken care of with my salary and my YouTube channel. So he accepted it like publicly. So you can think of all that. So perceptions, no truth, only perceptions. Perceptions are selling, and through all these forms of media. Think of future. How future can be altered, okay, altered with our understanding of ideas. So think of, over here you can bring in artificial intelligence, you can bring about internet of things, okay, you can bring about the possibilities related to robotics, that how our reality, our virtual reality as well as physical reality can be altered. You can think of like insights related to what Elon Musk is aspiring to create, right? Then there is no truth, only perception. Then you can talk about at individual level how we sometimes negate uh, facts which have occurred, and we build our own stories, or we build our own, we can consider, strong suits and stories around a specific narrative, and we have our own interpretation. So is our interpretation the true thing, or is it a, we can say, manipulated aspect of what unfolded before all of us? Then connect it at family level, that at family level also it seems that people are power balancing with each other by trying to gain maximum attention, love and care from each other, but in the process a lot of truth gets hidden or manipulated. Okay, so there is no truth, only perception. We have a perception, we love each other, but still we have so much of politics within ourselves. We try to assert a good boy girl or a good girl image before our parents, right? And parents also are like, they portray an ideal parents image before all of us, but we all have our own dirty linen in our own closet, and we know that that should not be exposed. So that's what, there is no truth, only perception. Connect it with the component associated with larger society, that how the larger society is getting connected with what is unfolding before all of us. You can connect it with at national level, with respect to national security. A lot of data is not made public because of threat of civil war like situation or frictions. So there also we can see that a lot of segments are manipulated, data is manipulated. You can think internationally, so much data is manipulated. Our perception related to environment change, that is we can say suppressed. Our ideas associated with forms of corruption and bigwigs getting involved get suppressed. So WikiLeaks, when it happened, the perception broke. it, because it just gave us a fringe of truth. And the owner of WikiLeaks, or when you think of Julian Assange, when he said that if I get an opportunity, I can, or Edward Snowden, when Snowden came up with his files, when he leaked certain files, when these guys said that we can give you more slices of truth if we are empowered enough protection is given to us and access to tools is given to us, we can really empower the world with a lot of information. There is no truth, only perception globally. Then connect it with sections of society, that how we are, like we can say, we are, when we are talking about the different kind of interventions meant for the vulnerable sections, our interpretations are kind of faulty. On one hand, we can think that different policies empowering the poorer sections will make them dependent. The poorer sections, they are always under the myth that there is a high level of insecurity and no one is standing for them. And this gap, the gap that poorer sections continue to feel insecure, and the empowered sections feel that the poorer sections are dependent and they are not making an effort to get empowered. They are stuck in culture of poverty. And this gap is somewhere overriding our understanding of truth related to what is poverty. Okay, think about the very idea of development, how our idea of development is so flawed in terms of rural urban development, in terms of creating problems related to tribal areas, in terms of the intervention which ought to be incorporating the concerns of different caste, religions, communities, that gets flawed. So is our idea of empowerment, taking care of all sections of the society, guided by truth, or is it our perceptions that which community needs what kind of intervention that is shaping our nature of intervention? Okay, so that's what. Again, what are the challenges to truth? What are the challenges to truth, and what shapes our perception? Think about it. So challenges to truth, keep building that segment, right? Again, truth is a subjective reality. So types of truth, individual truth can differ from societal truth. Truth is relative to time, place and person. So think about that, and why it is essential to maintain that also. So types of truth, so uh, like individual truth or truth associated with time and place and person, substantiate that. Again, there is no truth, only perception. Connect it within the world of science and tech, how ideas have changed. Connect it with environment, like the data that we have collected, or types of species, animals we keep collecting, and more species and animals keep getting added. Our ideas associated with the well-being and safety and security are ideas associated with global balance. We take IMF and World Bank with so much of regard, but what is the truth? Are they really safeguarding the global economy, or are they safeguarding the interests of the capitalists? So there are a lot of, we can see, conspiracy theories around a lot of economic ideas, bigwigs, organizations which are controlling and commanding us, right? No truth, only perception. The same US will be talking about global peace, and it will also have private army. So many things which are happening around the world, bring in, put it on over here in the topic, right? Then after that, bring in the larger ideals, that even though we are not fully guided by the truth or fully understanding the truth yet, the perceptions should never compromise with larger human values and ideals. No perception should be against balance, justice, harmony, equality, right? So I hope all of you are getting an idea associated with how to build the content associated with this topic, right? So I hope the person who entered this class at, like, if honestly entered the class, was not late, at 5 p.m. on Monday, last Monday, is a different person today. And all of you are realizing that it is all associated with being more and more thorough with GS content, more and more with worldly understanding, more and more with reading, working on language, working on vocabulary, doing more writing practice, 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 and practice. That's the key to success, right? So, all the methods and techniques needed for essay writing, powerful essay writing, has been shared by me in these 6 sessions thoroughly. Now, what really remains is that how far you practice. The ball is in your court, and now you have to bring that change. You have to honor the change by constantly working towards it. Be like easy with yourself. Don't be too caustic. Don't be too critical, nor be too lazy. Be nice to yourself and be diligent. Be hardworking. Okay, be disciplined. And please keep writing an essay. To begin with, be kind to yourself. 4 5 essays, tell yourself, will be kind of very average. Recall your background. If you have had a profound academic background, then 3 essays should be fine. If you have had a not so profound background, academic background, tell yourself it may take 7 essays. Okay, keep practicing. Start with smaller ones, move to bigger ones, and bit by bit climb up. Start with easy GS topics, then climb up to philosophical topics. After every 3 GS topics, you can take one philosophical topic. That's how you can try to balance the given subsegments. Possible target areas I've already shared, right? So you can try writing on those topics. Create a bunch of essays, a list of essays, so that you can revise it before going to the exam. The list of points, segments which you have reflected. That's how you can create a lot of segments related to this. Next weekend, not this, it's Monday, no, yeah, it's Monday. So this weekend onwards, we'll have the ethics class, Saturday, Sunday, 12th onwards. So all those people who have not been able to attend the ethics class because of university exams or whatever reasons you have been quoting, you can attend the session this Saturday onwards. Those who have already attended the ethics session, you don't need to attend it. It will be just the same. Okay, because you can do not change the content within 15 days. Only you change as example. All right. So I'll be meeting with those students once again. To the rest of you, God bless you. Best wishes. Like, fight it fit and play it honestly. May God be in your favor always, at all times, towards your positive endeavors. Thank you. Good night. Take care, all of you.